Hi and welcome to Magic Numbers. Today we got a special episode. It's time for the draft skeleton discussions with the skeleton crew. And we have an amazing lineup today. We have Jason, the silencer ILTG. We have Adam, the ringleader DDAVP. We have Zach, the kid Kagan. Unfortunately, we don't have Benji, the pickpocket. Jordan, hopefully he might join for a couple of minutes. Yeah, I know. He was represented by all the skeletons we did.
Exactly.
And then there's me. So for some reason, obviously it's sponsored by MTGA Zone and my patrons. Whatever, we want to go in there because that's about it. And we can move into discuss the skeletons. And as always, before we go into looking at our decks, we're going to talk a bit about our thoughts on the format. And I'm trying to change the slide when I'm in the wrong window. That's very smart. But okay. Getting there. Okay. So we built our skeletons in sealeddeck.tech, and a big shout out to them for organizing a very useful way of trying to build those decks every single time. There is the link on the slide to sealeddeck.tech, to the OTJ window where you get all the cards, including all the special bonus slots. So you can build from all the cards that are available in the boosters, which is great. And the idea that we have is to build a sort of realistic, reasonable deck where we have between 0 and 2 rares. We have 0 to 8 uncommons, and we fill up the decks with commons, and we try to build them. And we try to showcase different things. Sometimes we try to guess what WotC wants us to build, what the design team built for us to do. Sometimes we try to build something that is not implicitly suggested by the design team. We try to figure out our own builds. Sometimes we add a color here and there. Sometimes we put some splashes. We do it more and more freely every time we do this stream. But every time the results are decks that we think are going to be interesting in one way or the other. Okay, that's about the skeletons. We're going to move to them later. Before that, maybe a bit of talking about how this format looks like. And traditionally, I start by looking at the damage removal stats. And this set is pretty different from everything that I've seen so far in the last X sets since Midnight Hunt in terms of the creature sizing. And you might not see that from this slide, but you will see that from the next slides. But when we look at the slides here, we have spells that can deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 damage. And they will, of course, kill a different amount of creatures. One thing that is particular for this set is that there's very few X1s. Only 16% of creatures at common have 1 toughness. And only 6 and 5% of creatures at uncommon and higher rarities have 1 toughness. That is unprecedentedly low numbers of X1s compared to other sets. I think last time we had something similar was in Kaldheim, which is it already Boomer set or is it Gen X? Gen X maybe.
Yeah. Set. No, Kaldheim is Boomer. Kaldheim is Boomer.
Okay, it's Boomer.
It's set. A pandemic
set. We have it.
Are we really doing 2020 sets as Boomer?
Ikoria
that was like 80 years ago, Zach. Yeah.
Okay, if okay. So if it's in standard, it's not Boomer, right? We can agree.
I think that's fair.
Yes.
Okay, I think that discussion is interesting, but not interesting. Other things
so we need to do 5 more minutes on what sets are Boomer or not, what sets are millennials, what sets cannot get down payments on their apartments.
We need the data.
We need the data. I mean, it's like what percentage of people that played it when it was first on are still alive or something?
Exactly.
I just gotta say that like all these sets from like the early 2010s or whatever, you know, they got such easy financing, they got jobs, they got pensions, whatever, and they really ruined it for all these young sets that are coming out. You know, can't get started in the world. Like
exactly.
You know, MKM is like already old news. These new generations of sets are completely, you know, they're floundering on the vine.
We had that discussion. Leave the jokes to professionals, Zach. Okay.
All right. I'm timed out for 5 minutes. I get it.
Moving back to the removal stats, there is another interesting feature that may be not apparent from this set, but from this slide. But this is the first set that I analyzed so far, where uncommons and commons have more or less the same makeup in terms of the percentages of what does a shock kill, what does a lightning bolt kill, what does a 4 damage spell kill. Normally you have gaps, and almost in every set there is a gap between the how many 2-drops are there at common and at common, and there is not 2-drops but creatures with 2 toughness or less are there at common. Normally it's around 50% in at common and roughly 40 to 35% at uncommon. This gap doesn't exist in this set, and very frequently there's also like a good 10 percentage point gap between how many creatures are killed by a lightning bolt in each set. And there is normally, 10 to 15% gap. Although in some sets it doesn't exist, but the 2 toughness creature gap exists almost every time. Apart from that, numbers are relatively normal. Okay, we have fewer 1-drops, and we have fewer things that have toughness over 4, because 4 damage spells kill already 94, 93% of creatures at common and uncommon. So there's very little that has toughness above it. So, apart from the damage removal, yeah.
I assume that the fact that there's less disparity in between common and uncommon is partly because of play boosters, right? Because
I think so, but
they're shifting more things to uncommon, so things are more uniform.
That's why I'm drawing attention to it, because next time we're going to see if that's the same or was it just a particular thing. One thing against it is that the most similar set to this is Kaldheim, which is another Dave Humphrey set. So maybe this is the Dave Humphrey special of playing around on the outskirts of the values that other sets have, and we're going to see it in a second in a better graph to discuss it maybe. Apart from the damage removal, we have some conditional removal, and not much of it. I think that there is a slight retreat from this kind of weird conditional removals. We see them less and less. I think I remember making 6 or 7 of those graphs for some sets, and now we're stuck into 3 or 4 weird conditional removals per set. But Shoot the Sheriff, I think, is the most common one that we're going to see, because it's at uncommon and it looks premier, so people are going to play it quite a lot. It doesn't kill that much. It kills only 60% of the creatures. To give you an example, Go for the Throat in Brothers War killed around 68% of the creatures. So it doesn't kill as much as Go for the Throat did. And Go for the Throat had issues already. And I don't remember the numbers for Power Word Kill, but I'm pretty sure it was also more than 60%. So it might be not as good as it seems, because not only it is killing only 60% of the creature, but it will be pretty much useless against some decks if they are super heavy on the Outlaws, which is a theme. Situation that was not that common in...
Oh, sorry. How does this compare to Long Goodbye? I guess is the more recent one.
Long Goodbye. Oh my god, you don't make me do stuff.
So sorry.
You got to be live on your feet. Where are these numbers? Come on. This is incredible streaming content while we wait for Circumits to pull up these data.
Well, I mean,
we could take.
I didn't expect that to see. I didn't expect to see that.
But you have to factor in all of the morph creatures, right? Which could be hit by.
Yeah, no, probably. I don't know. If, maybe I have it in my. No, I don't have it. Yeah, we're gonna have to live without it. the way it was.
Okay. Yeah, we can move on. Move on.
Circumits will edit it in right here.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Now all you have to do is remember that.
We both know that I'm not doing any editing like that. Unless I see like a foot-long pause in any kind of volume, I'm not editing that. That's it. But yeah, should the Sheriff will be problematic against some decks, and it doesn't kill that much. So I think it will be still a decent card, and I'm still sure you're going to be playing at least the first copy always. But I am not sure if you're going to be wanting to play multiple copies in case you run into a deck that has like 80% of its creatures are outlaws, and it sits dead in your hand most of the time. Vanishing Verse, not that surprisingly, it's a very good removal against common spells, because all the common creatures are monocolored, except for a couple of them that are non-colored, and these ones you cannot touch. But the higher the rarity, the fewer cards it kills, which makes it also problematic because it's a premium removal that you have to pick early, probably, that doesn't kill most atrocious bombs. Tyrant Scorn does look very good because on its kill layer, I'm not even talking about bouncing things, which can be also useful against some creatures. But even on its killing kind of level, it kills around 65, 68% of the creatures. Obviously, there will be lower impact ones, but also it's a 2-mana removal, so those will be quite useful to kill early if you are planning to survive till a later game. And white-black, I think, wants to survive till the later game. So it will be pretty useful, I guess. And lastly, we have Tornado, which there is not that many flying creatures, around 18% at common, 13% at uncommon, and 20% of rares and mythics. And the problem with this card is that even with cycling, the cycling needs colored mana to be cycled. I don't think you're going to be main decking it. I think it's a strictly sideboard card, unless someone thinks otherwise, but hopefully not. Then we have a ton of sweepers in this set. Some of them are just absolutely busted and will end games. I'm pretty sure that Final Showdown is going to be one of those. 7 mana, just end the game, basically, at instant speed also. So, yeah,
I mean,
that's
even
neat.
6 mana, right? Like, you can just do 6 mana instant speed sweeper, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's also fine. But I think that you will wait that one turn.
Yeah.
Just for the extra values. Thank you, Scorcher, for your contribution. My cat is pestering me, obviously. He thinks that when I'm talking and there's...
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I think that, like, one of the things about sweepers, like one of the main problems about sweepers is that, like, you give your opponent the play, right? Like, you give your opponent the first chance to, like, rebuild, and, like, instant speed doesn't let that happen, right?
No, yeah, of course, but yeah, 7 mana and also keep your best thing. That's just absolutely busted. I know you're still very much advantaged when you cast it at the end of their turn, just for 6 mana. But yeah, the difference 6/7 is 1.5 turns. So
now, is this a
also
card
if you're
that
ahead,
like...
you can use it as an indestructible trick.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking. Can you even
just to
play
show
this
them.
But I mean, can you just play this in Boros as just like, this is my trick if if I'm ahead, and if I'm ever behind and the game goes late, it's my get out of jail free card.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
this card's like never bad.
Yeah,
you put it in every deck. Yeah,
you did not play No Witnesses in a Boros deck in Murders, but like you would just play this in any deck in
I mean, we'll
OTG.
play Take Up the Shield, and that's lifelink and a counter and indestructible. So this is like a bad Take Up the Shield at worst. Like that seems pretty good.
Yeah, like the only like if you have a creature, the indestructible mode does something, and if you don't have a creature, the wrath probably does something. So like it's really hard for this card to be dead, which is like a really, really strong thing for a Magic card, for it to never be dead.
Oh, by the way, it has a choose a creature you control, so it doesn't target, which is neat.
Doesn't commit a crime though. Downside, unplayable clearly.
No crime, no rhyme. Okay,
No crime.
Overwhelming Forces is another sweeper that will end games quite efficiently. I mean, this one you don't feel that badly that you cast it on your turn, as your creatures do survive. It does commit a crime, and probably it is criminal just to cast that card. 8 mana is a lot though, so I mean you need to ramp somewhat in order to play it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good payoff. Plague Wind.
Yeah. withdraw card.
Yeah.
No
big deal.
You could deck yourself.
Crackle with Powers technically could be a sweeper, but
yeah, technically.
I mean, it also ends the game if it's a sweeper, so that's fine. And then, well, Contagion Engine is like a slow sweeper, I guess. It eventually will get there. But the rest of them are sort of conditional sweepers. And I think that Fell the Mighty is not looking like very nicely, but someone will completely ruin my day by casting it for some reason.
Play it on your 0 power creature.
Yeah, on your 0/4. What is it? Armadillo.
Oh, the armadillo.
No,
right, yeah.
You can also do it with the crab if you like make its. Is it just naturally like a 0/5 or something, and you have to pay mana to give it power?
Yeah.
Or you do your -4/-0 on your creature, and then you Fell the Mighty. Yeah.
Or you -4/-0 on their creature. I guess then the creature that you target always survives. So
right,
that is good.
Yeah. Anyway, there are a couple of smaller sweepers. Not neutralize the guards. I still don't know how good that card is going to be. It's more of a combat trick than a sweeper, is it? As there are no X1 creatures.
It's also just a constructed card, essentially, plant. I mean, it's going to have a role in the limited format, but
neutralize the guards. Will it be played and constructed? I think 3 mana is too much for that effect. You want to play End the Festivities. But anyway, this is the game.
There's the black-white card in Big Score that destroys all things 1 mana less. You forgot to put that one on here. Technically a sweeper.
Yeah, I did consider it, and then I looked at the card file and I was like, nope.
I made space for it. I rearranged the cards to put it in, and then I forgot to put it in.
Missed opportunity. Yeah.
That kills basically nothing in limited, but it does have cycling too.
But the argument for neutralize the guards in constructed is that if you're playing in standard a bat mirror, right, a deep cavern bat mirror, this kills your opponent's bats while leaving your bats alive in Dimir.
Cut down does that too.
Okay, sure. This gets 2 bats. 2 bats.
There's also the Hafrath, which is not on this list, which is Rush of the Dead.
Oh, that card's just kind of stinky.
Oh, yeah. I thought about that one, too.
I don't think that...
I mean, it's more of a wrath that Crackle with Power is. I can tell you that.
Sorry.
Crackle with Power is just win the game card.
Yeah, Crackle with Power, after you resolve it, there will be no creatures on your opponent's side of the battle.
Yeah, they all get exiled, actually. It is a wrath.
Game too.
Is removing the creatures from the board a state-based effect after opponent gets lethal? I don't know the rules on that one. But
Commander players are very familiar with boards of creatures getting exiled when a player leaves the game.
And I have played 0 games of Commander in my life. Yay!
It'll come for you, Circovitz. There's always a time in a player's life.
So here we go to how unique this set is in terms of creature sizing. Like, first of all, 4 toughness. This is only creatures at common, by the way. This is only at common because I thought comparing at common is much better, as we will see so many more of those during the games. But 1/4 of all the creatures in this set have toughness of 4, where previously the maximum was 17%. And minimum was 12. So it was a very narrow range of values where you find toughness 4. In this set, for some reason, I have no idea what, there's 1/4 of them. At the same time, there is 35% of creatures with toughness 2. This is closer to the maximum that you can find in the recent sets of around 33%, but average will be somewhere around 26, 27%, I guess. So it's way above the average level as well, and unprecedented in terms of how high it is. Now, on the other hand, there's quite few creatures with toughness more than 4, at common at least. It's only 6%, and I think normally you get around 12, 11. This is a clean graph when I just kept 8 recent sets. You're going to see the graph with all the sets since... Well, we're going to see since Kaldheim, I think, in a second. And you see that those numbers are still unique when you look at the sets since Kaldheim. And also lowest number of the 1-drops, X1s that I already told you. And one of the lowest numbers of creatures with toughness 3. Which means that one way or another, it's an extreme set in terms of what are the frequencies of different toughnesses and powers at common. And since I already told you, uncommon toughness stats trace very closely with the common ones. So most of the creatures will be in this very weird range that we haven't seen in any set before. So if you look at all the sets since Kaldheim, indeed it's since Kaldheim, 2 toughness creatures are still the highest except for Kaldheim itself. 1 toughness creatures are still the lowest except for Kaldheim itself. So we have some kind of maybe cross-reference with Kaldheim in terms of the creature sizing. Also, Kaldheim was pretty low in terms of 3 toughness creatures like this set is. Still, the 4 toughness thing is unique for this set and this set only. And also the number of creatures that are toughness greater than 4 is pretty low historically. Only a couple of sets, Brothers War and Wilds of Eldraine are the only ones that are remotely close to that. So that's pretty interesting. And this is the cumulative fraction of creatures that have toughness of 2, 3, and 4. And again, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, around 80% of all the creatures have 2, 3, or 4 toughness in terms of common creatures. This is way more than in any other set. Kaldheim is the second one with 74%, but it's not even that close. And the average for all the sets is around 66%. So there's like 12 percentage points difference. That's a massive difference, which means that all those creatures are really clustered closely together in terms of their toughness. I don't know what it means. I thought for a second that maybe it means that Skullduggery is like secretly the busted card of the set because the creatures' statistics are so close to each other that, giving +1/+1, -1/-1 will frequently change the result of the combat.
Plus 1 mana of crime.
Jason, wants to say something.
One thing is to note about Kaldheim specifically, which is a very interesting comparison, is that Kaldheim had a lot of ways to change your creature sizing. Because equipment was huge in Kaldheim, right? I think Goldvein pick, but also just like the red-white archetype, right? So there was a lot of good equipment in Kaldheim. There was a lot of ways to change your creature sizing, and this was probably also one of the reasons why equipment performed well in Kaldheim. Beyond just there being good equipment and it being an archetype, you could meaningfully, boost your creatures in combat a bunch. Like I remember it feeling just so big when you turn your 1/2 Jaspera Sentinel into a 2/3, right? And I suspect the same thing will be true here, but there's not very much equipment is the thing. There's not very many ways of changing.
Are you trying to tell me that Goldpan is busted?
Maybe. That's maybe what I'm trying to tell you. It's possible
Goldpan let's leave that take to Death Sea in week 1 of the format, okay?
What? We can theorize about it here. I didn't put Goldpan in any of my archetype skeletons, but it's a card end keeping an eye on.
But I can see it being very good.
No ways to. There's no +1/+1 counters in the set either. There were definitely some in
there are. There's the tricks, right?
We have tricks.
And
Snakeskin
Veil. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, those the thing is
and there's the bird, the 5-mana bird.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The 5 mana bird is 5 mana. Though. We don't have a 2-mana thing that puts a counter on something.
Sure.
When it enters.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
No, there is the spree card that puts +1/+1 counters on everything for 2 mana.
They have the mercenaries, but they won't help toughness. Yeah.
Yeah, toughness is a big thing, and this does make mercenaries maybe better because you can tune your things to you can more easily get past a 4 toughness blocker than a 5 toughness blocker. In fact, this might be why we're not seeing that many 5 toughness blockers to make mercenaries better. That would be my design guess, but
yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine they want board stalls just from seeing recent sets. So yeah, if you don't want stuff that's too big to be able to not get through. I mean, we don't have a +2/+1. We don't have an inspired charge. I guess we have a trumpet blast, but yeah, I mean they want combat to be able to happen, which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have still no clear idea what this means. I just want to draw your attention that this is a very, very weird statistic for a set in terms of how close the common creatures are, and also the fact that uncommons are almost identical with the commons. And here we bring the differences between. This is the difference between how many creatures are killed by a shock in the last couple of sets between commons and uncommons. And normally it was around 12 percentage point difference. So you killed around 50% of commons and around 38% of uncommons. And we see almost no difference in OTJ. There was a smaller difference in MUM, which is another Dave Humphrey said, by the way. Don't know what to think of that. This is maybe to signal that this might be a new trend with the play boosters, and hopefully in the next couple of sets we're going to see how it performs.
But MKM still had that discrepancy.
MKM still had that discrepancy, but they also told that they didn't apply the full new set design for the MKM when they released it. They didn't change I think they didn't fully change how the set is designed at that stage.
We're still easing into the play booster era.
That makes sense. You want a half step in the first one usually, like test the waters. So yeah, this makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if anything, like I looked at the spoiler of this set, and this is not a gentle step.
No.
Direction.
Yeah,
this is like head first dive into while screaming Leroy Jenkins or something.
Yeah, let's hope we can all swim here. So yeah, the next few slides in a few minutes, so just look at some big picture like mechanics, things about the sets, and this also is usually the time where we present some information, and as a group we'll kind of discuss what we think a mechanic might affect, like your draft or your gameplay or stuff like that. So that's we'll start out with plot. So there's 34 cards, 9 common, 15 uncommon, 8 rare, 2 mythic. They're across all colors, so it is predominantly in teamers, so your blue, your red, and your green. And you'll see just some examples on the slide. Some of them are going to plot for the same amount of mana as their typical cost is, like Loan Shark, cost 3 in a blue, or would plot for 3 in a blue. So you could play it for a 3/4 in your turn, or you could say, I'm going to put this on loan, and I'm going to play it on a future turn as a sorcery when I can maybe get whatever value that the card will allow me. So like Loan Shark would say, if I play another card, then I play Loan Shark, I also draw a card, which is a good ability if you can afford to not affect the board on that turn to get the Loan Shark later. Some of them are cheaper, like the Spinewoods Paladin, the one in the middle, for 4 mana, on turn 3 if you have a mana dork, or turn 4 otherwise, you can plot this, and then you can just play it the next turn, for example. And then some actually cost more mana, so like our second one, Longhorn Sharpshooter. And this is one of the 2 cards that actually has an ability when you plot it. So it's 4 mana to deal 2 damage to any target, and then you can play it on a later turn. So these different costs will probably affect when you play the cards. Also, not just when you play it in terms of like, what does the board state look like, but also what mana do I need for this? Can I fit these 2, 3, 4 mana in and double spell in a turn? So in general, that there are different costs, and it kind of just depends on the card itself. They're across multiple archetypes, though. They are predominantly in the teamer type of color pairs, which makes sense because that's where the bulk of the cards are. I imagine when we look at our deck shells, we won't. I mean, somebody may have done like a full on plot. This is half the deck, but likely this will be some cards that just have a high power level. Maybe you're really synergistic, but you're not necessarily going to have such a high level of plot cards that you're saying this is all my deck is doing. These may just be like supportive of other strategies that your deck's trying to accomplish. So I guess the first question of the group is how we think about this, tempo versus value. Like you're playing something, but it's not affecting the board yet, with the exception of like the Sharpshooter and the green spell that does like +3/+2 and trample. But you're getting something that should have like an extra add-on when you do eventually actually cast it. And it's tough to say this because we don't know what the format's going to look like, format speed, quote unquote, and what your board state's going to look like, and if you can catch up and whatnot. But I think it's an interesting discussion we could maybe have for like a minute or two. And then we can just jump to the next one.
I'm skeptical of, as much as I love it, Doc Aralok.
Yeah.
Just because, the good Doc and Loan Shark is really good. That's awesome, right? Just being able to plot Loan Shark for 2 mana. But the problem is that Spinewood's Paladin is really, really good, I think. And I think a lot of decks are going to be picking it up. And you want to be like putting you want like 2 of them. You want a lot of them if you have Doc. And you're probably going to have to fight the table for them.
Yeah, that will be an early pick.
The problem with the Doc is that other cards are just too good.
Yeah,
it's just okay. The problem is that there's not that many, like there aren't that many plots. And then if you have Doc on the field and you don't have a plot card for turn 3, it's very sad.
Yeah, he's fine. 2/3 on rate is good, but he's not like amazing. But yeah, you're saying, am I going to have enough plot cards on my deck to be able to reliably like plot on 3 and cast something else, or like double plot? I don't know. It's going to be tough to build a deck where you feel like you can do that. And should you do that? Probably not.
It works with Timur because it has like a bunch of cards that are actually actively good with the Doc Orlok apart from the plot cards. Because you got the plot guy that exiles something, and then when you exile, you also have a discount on it. So that's like
there may be some space to play there. It's just where will you want a critical mass for that, or you say these are just supportive, complementary pieces that you can fit in to like affect your game plan, but not make that your whole game plan. Yeah,
I mean, Jason's hard to judge. We assume that Spinewood's Paladin is gonna be like picked highly, but normally people underestimate green in general. So who knows what week 1 is going to give us? Maybe we're just going to be only drafting plot.
Week 1 we may wheel that. Week 4,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to bring up about plot is like, I feel like a lot of the plot, not that many of the plot cards change that much because they have plot. There's some like Loan Shark that too but like Spinewood Paladin is just good. So there's like a certain class of plot cards that like if they're not situational, like Spinewood's Paladin or like Djinn of Fool's Fall or whatever, if they're just like creatures, like you kind of just don't care about plotting them that much. Like, if I have 5 mana, I'm not going to plot my Djinn of Fool's Fall. I'm just going to cast my Djinn of Fool's Fall, right? It's generally better to have it on board. And, like, the question is, okay, then do I plot it on turn 4 so that I can cast it for free on turn 5? Well, like, if I have my Spinewoods Paladin, right, it's probably better to cast a 4-drop on turn 4 than to plot the Spinewoods Paladin. Because, like, if you plot the Paladin, then you can cast both it and the 4-drop on turn 5, but, like, you could have just like cast the 4-drop this turn, Paladin on turn 5. So like then it matters if like you maybe think you're going to miss your land drop, and like obviously if you don't have a 4-drop, maybe it's better to plot the Paladin. But like plot, I feel like on some of these cards is like very small upside.
Yeah, it's flavor text maybe. Yeah.
I think other cards it will play very well with Snakeskin Veil, and then Snakeskin Veil I think is going to be a decent card in this format. And plotting things and having untapped mana always to protect your thing with Snakeskin Veil or whatever to take up the shield.
But like, would you rather do that, or would you rather have it? Would you rather do that, or would you rather have it 1 turn sooner? Right? Like, it's still a cost, right? Like, giving up your 5/4. For a whole turn, like you're not gonna plot Paladin on turn 5 instead of casting it that often, right?
Oh no,
like,
okay,
I will say so. I didn't play with Foretell in limited, but from what I was told by people is you could foretell at instant speed, right? But these are all
you could foretell it at instant speed, not on their turn. You can foretell on your turn at instant speed.
Oh, okay, that is helpful to know. So I mean, I guess that doesn't affect this set, but I'm curious how this will affect your ability to like. Are you going to plot these versus like? Are you going to have instant speed stuff that you want to be holding up mana for, and you're going to say I want to keep my 4-mana interaction up, and I'll just play my 5-drop on 5, and I'm not going to worry about it. And that'll probably depend on board state and the matchup, but.
So this mechanic looks kind of like Foretell, but it's very different because mostly the plot costs are very similar to the mana costs.
Yeah.
Like it's like 1 off, and like a lot of the plot.
That was kind of the same with Foretell, though.
Yeah, where you see a reduction, like a 1-mana reduction, like Spinewood Paladin, are ones where like you don't naturally have an incentive to plot. Whereas something like Loan Shark, where you naturally have the incentive to plot because it gets better when you plot it, as opposed to Spinewood Paladin, which doesn't. Then you don't see a mana cost difference. And one of the reasons why Foretell was good because you get to split up the mana cost payment. This you don't really get to split it up. You still like just pay one big payment. One thing I wanted to call out as plot cards that you should almost always plot, or like you usually plot, are card draw spells. So, for example, the Tormenting Voice with Plot, like you can discard a card or sack a land to draw 2. You should never cast that on turn 2. You almost never, at least. You should usually just play it, because like if you're not going to use the cards immediately, don't cast it. Wait until you have more information, until you have, especially if it's like the Tormenting Voice, which requires a choice, right? If it's a creature, though, obviously you want to cast it sooner. But yeah.
Also, yeah, I that's why I put Rise of the Varmints on there as an example of a card that you might plot early and say, like, I need to find a board state, a game state where this is more beneficial. Same with like the card draw spells. You're like, I don't have a card I want to discard yet, or maybe I get my hand emptied and get my scry 3 before I draw my 3, or something like that. So yeah, I think a big part of these cards will be where you get your incremental gains in terms of like, can I outplay my opponent?
Exactly, and
can I make the most out of this? Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about it like a lot, but in the end, if you have a payoff for not casting a spell, you're gonna plot. If you have a payoff for double spelling, you might want to plot and double cast the next turn. Something.
Yeah. And we'll see this in shells too. Yeah, like Draft Chaff Pod mentioned, like when we look at the blue white and some other like blue red, we'll see these in shells. We'll probably talk about them a little bit there. Yeah.
I just wonder, like, in the average game, of course, it's going to depend on how you build your deck. But I wonder how much average mana Doc Alok, or however you're supposed to pronounce it, is going to be netting you. You know, like, how much can you expect? Obviously, you're just happy with the body, right? Like, you know, no one's going to, cut this.
I assume 0 because they're just going to kill it on their turn, and I'm not going to get to use it.
Oh, I think that Doc Arlock, the most common play pattern is going to be turn 4, play Doc Arlock, and you plot something. Like,
plot your Paladin right then. That I do, and there's a lot of good green 2-drops, and there's good interaction in blue 1, 2, and 3 that you can probably wait till 4 to double spell with that.
But kill them with what?
I assume you'll have a desert in play, and you'll just do your -3/-3 with the black spell, or you'll double spell.
You came prepared, I see.
Give 3.
There's always a deserter 1, and then turn 2 -3/-3.
Oh no, I watched Jason's set review. Desert turn 1 always. Yeah. I know how to do it. Yeah.
Must be nice. No, I think that very frequently this card will be, if you're on the play, you play it on turn 2 blindsided, and it just survives till.
I mean, if I have like a Paladin and a Loan Shark in hand, I'm just going to risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, play this on 2 and hope to just win the game on turn 3, basically. But yeah.
And for the discussion of like, is it going to be too slow? I trust Dave and the Magic designers. Like, they put this as the headliner mechanic. It's not going to be too slow.
Yeah,
like maybe some of them are going to be bad, but like
as a mechanic,
whole, you're going to be plotting. I think.
Yeah. All right.
At least enough,
are we done with the plot?
I think so. Yeah.
Plot it to oblivion. Crime. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, we've all probably been committing crimes. You know, since we started playing Magic, we just didn't realize they were crimes. So this is anytime you do anything to your opponent where it's called out as target. So we have a ton of examples here. The first 4 are just examples of benefits for committing a crime. So sometimes it's as big as, Surveil 2, which probably means, I'm not going to draw land for the rest of the game. I'm just all gas. To, generate a mercenary token, or, drain and gain 1. There's 26 cards across all colors, though it is mostly black and then blue. They care about a crime being committed, which is, pretty thematic. That kind of makes sense. Almost all of them are limited to triggering once per turn. There are like a few exceptions, but for the most part, you can think about it as on your turn, you could commit a crime and something would trigger. And then on your opponent's turn, you could commit a crime and something could trigger as well. So in a turn cycle, you might be able to get 2 triggers, but per turn, it's 1 trigger. I guess, a question for the group. And this is understanding that they have built the set and we had the entire big score, the wanted, whatever it is, bonus sheet with 65 cards that are all committing crimes. But
OTP.
OTP, thank you. How many? Yes, thank you. Yeah. How many crimes do we actually think we're going to be committing in a game? Because that might be a general thought process we can have to develop some heuristic around thinking about these cards in the first few days.
Us or Jason?
I mean, I guess us. I want Jason's thoughts on it, obviously, but
I see Jason playing 4 of the 1/3s that tap to ping and committing all the crimes.
Generally, if we think about it, if you're going to follow the back of the card that WotC gives you in your pre-release, 15 creatures and 18 spells, and of those 18 spells, 5 to 6 of them might commit a crime. say you have 1 or 2 lands, like that might be 8, but they've seeded more stuff in there. The power level of these cards might be such that you want to play more. You have some creatures that might commit crimes. So like, what do we think we're actually like counting on a number of crimes we're going to commit in a game that lasts,
in a normal
7
deck,
to 10
I would
turns?
say 7. Yeah. 7 crimes a game because there are not many
Oh,
reproducible.
that's high. I think 7 is high.
I'm guessing 4 to 6, but I think there will be decks that can build to 7 to 10. But you'll need a repeatable crime. You'll need a lot of the lands. But I'm thinking like the 4 to 6 range, and that might even be high.
Though.
I don't know.
Just like there are repeatable crime doers, crime like there
criminals.
Recidivists, I think it's called.
Yeah. What are they? I mean, there's like the pinger in red. There's the uncommon 4 mana gain and drain in black.
Yeah, there's the 2/1. The 2/1.
Yeah, the blue one. Yeah, that thing's gonna die. Yeah. So there's some repeatable stuff, but it's minimal.
Blood Hustler, right? I mean,
Blood
that's
Hustler.
4 mana in black.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you just keep bouncing your crime lands, then you can do that. But
you can just loop Mindslaver.
Yes, that they're going to keep playing the game after that.
just in order to commit crime every
I guess
that you're taking.
If we're looking at crime payoffs, it's like how many times do you need this Raven of Fell Omen to trigger for it to be useful? Like if it triggers twice, it starts looking like a vampire spawn plus.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good.
I'm happy with twice.
Yeah. You're like, can I trigger it twice? I probably can.
But it's not just the spells though. Like there's all these creatures that ETB and commit crimes. Like, there's the Restless Bloodseeker. There's the Strix that taps something down. The 1 mana.
I do like that Strix.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
So like, there's all these like little ways to just the majority of your deck can commit a crime when you cast it.
So you're on the 7 to 8 range. It sounds like Zach and Circo. I'm on the 4 to 6 range. What are you thinking, Jason?
I think I think I more agree with 4 to 6 if you're not trying. But the thing is, you can try. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. If you could try them, I'm pretty sure you can get double digits quite easily.
Yeah.
I mean, stupid deserts commit a crime.
Oh yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah, the crime lands are going to be good fun.
Beloved.
Yeah. And I guess we've kind of talked about this next point, but to what extent do you go out of your way? I think it'll depend on what payoffs you find and when you find them in the draft. Like if you get some rare mythic or good uncommon that says commit crimes and you will win the game, you will probably try and commit crimes, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's enough. It does seem like there's enough playable cards. Like people want interaction to some degree, and those would commit crimes. So you're probably going to have to go out of your way to say, I need to pick this removal spell at pick 3 rather than pick 4 because I need this. It's probably fine to pick it where you pick it regardless, and just happen to benefit your plan. So I think this will be something that you're just constantly seeing. In terms of how to affect this, I mean, this may be a little beyond the scope of this slide, but I mean, there are some pretty cool protection tricks. Like Snakeskin Veil will probably be very good. Take Up the Shield will probably be very good because people will be incentivized to target creatures and permanents and do stuff like that. So
I mean
we'll see how it plays out.
Were just very good anyways, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, they weren't always picked like it, which was fantastic if you were in the know. But we're here to help people be in the know. So
indeed,
yeah. Pick Snakeskin Veil. That's my advice.
Yeah.
I also think that I think that one thing that we might want to think about during the draft is instant ways of creating crimes, because you said most of those things they trigger once each turn.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can commit a speedy crime, just a quick in and out burglary, you will be able to trigger your stuff twice in a turn cycle, which is just going to be great. So
my theory is play a desert, commit a crime on your turn, pass, remove something on their turn, commit a crime on their turn.
Get around the once per turn.
Yeah. Which is nice. And we've seen some cards that would maybe normally, we've seen instant speed bite spells. Like they made the green 1 in green like a sorcery, which is, it's going to be a good card regardless, but it's just something that's okay, you're not going to be as easy in green to be able to commit crimes on both persons' turns, for example. You're going to have to pair it with another color like red or blue or black. Yeah.
Talking about dumb crime statistics, there are 7 Oblivion rings in this set.
There are a lot of Oblivion rings. Some of them even come with the
7.
creature. Yeah. It's kind of wild. Yeah.
And
So
I don't
are any
even count
creatures
the
going-
stupid top aura that sort of works like an Oblivion ring. That would be
Yeah.
an 8th one.
Yeah.
I
So
can't
those
wait
are
to-
crimes. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to cast like force of vigor and blow up my opponent's 2 Oblivion rings in combat, commit a crime.
They will concede when that's on the stack, I imagine. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be putting Force of Vigor in my deck, but
no,
Set
you have
at
to
the board.
sideboard it in. You have
Set
to
at the
sideboard it
board.
in. It's the
Yeah.
card that you rare drafted because it's a constructed
gems.
modern stable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm totally
Okay.
buying a box of this.
Oh yeah, this looks cool. So this is crime.
This set is so juiced because they like had to juice this set because they made it juiced for just like original OTJ, and then they had this whole scrapped set that they had to shove in. So they put additional 1 in 5 mythics in every 1 in 5 packs if they have an additional mythic. So yeah, you're getting your value from opening these packs.
Yeah, as long as it's not value VOW, val level stuff, then yeah, this will be a fun set, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Shall we
next?
move to?
Yeah. Yep. So saddle. So this is what I think is actually going to be a pretty cool mechanic. We've all played with vehicles, and sometimes you get frustrated when you have no creatures in play, and you'd love to crew your vehicle and let it do vehicle things. Well, now we have creatures that can also be crewed or saddled, is the term the mechanic's being used, to add some additional benefit to them. So whether it's like adding first strike or giving you an attack trigger, these are pretty cool. And they're in, predominantly white, green. There's some red as well. So predominantly Naya colors. Because you are tapping a creature on your side, which could be one you just played, which is nice. It does say, like, I am an aggressive mechanic. Like, I'm here to turn things sideways and try and get the opponent dead. That being said, like, there are things you can do on your turn to, like, you can play to the board, you can have tricks available, you can have things such that your opponent may not do well if they just try and swing back and alpha you back. So all that to say, we have these cards. We've kind of played with this with vehicles, but this is different enough to where, like, how best can we leverage this? What do we think about this? Because I think this is going to be pretty strong, because you can just attack with the creature if you don't want or need to saddle it. But if you have the cardboard around that would make it advantageous, like, yeah, saddle up and ride. So I think these will be pretty strong. And I think they happen to be in colors that are good to very good as it looks. So I don't know if people have thoughts on
this also, like, weirdly makes steer clear being playable in aggro deck, because you can saddle your things, but because you have mounts, you have basically a 1 mana deal 4 damage. You can raise having access to that kind of spell.
Yeah, honestly, I wonder if, like, more relevant than just like the saddle ability itself. Like, there's a bunch of things that just care about mounts randomly, and that might be more relevant than with the text on the mounts. Though some of them are quite good.
Yeah, there's the 1 white that searches up a planes or a mount in the top 5, which is probably going to be
I was thinking of also
good to
the
very
bite
good.
Spell.
Yeah, the bite spell. Yeah, that's a
that's great.
Yeah.
If it becomes 2 mana, +1/+1 counter and bite, that's kind of huge. But yeah, so one thing to note:
Frontier Seeker. I think that thing is just like super busted with the mounts in the deck. The sort of like what was the pirate? Stale crewmate or something?
Staunch crewmate.
Yeah.
Staunch crewmate. Yeah, that one. Or the Shepherd of the Clouds, the 4/3 Vigilant Flyer that brings things back from the graveyard if you have a mount.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing is like nuts.
Notably, unlike Enlist, this can tap summoning sick creatures, so you can like play a creature and then immediately use it to mount, to saddle a mount. So that's important for especially for things like Gila Courser, right, where you might want to immediately get your value the turn afterwards. Maybe you didn't have a 2-drop, or they killed your 2-drop, or you traded with your 2-drop. Also, I think some of these that have vigilance, I'm looking at Giant Beaver and the other thing, the 3/4 that makes goats.
Okay, yeah.
And also to some extent, there's the 4/7 for 6 mana that like gains life at uncommon. Things that gain life, right? those I'm naturally more interested in because it's tempo negative to tap a creature, right? So you and like you're getting some benefit, but like it's nice if the benefit that you're getting is tempo positive to like make up for it, right? Like, and obviously the one like the beaver, you're not getting the +1/+1 encounter is not tempo positive itself, but like the fact that it has vigilance helps with the fact that you're tapping down the blocker, or like things that have lifelink and get bigger help with that. For like when you're not clearly ahead.
Yeah, this beaver gives me like big lattice blade mantis vibes from one. Like it gets on, it tussles, it stays back, it makes you can't get run over ideally. And then we do have a signpost that just if it's your only mount, it's still pretty good. But these mounts do look playable enough on their own to where you can really leverage it. And there was a good point. I agree with Draft Chat Pod. Like if you're saying I'm gonna tap a creature and then send this creature in, like you are asking me to blown out. So you need, your snakeskin veil, your take up the shield, some type of protection.
It's a shame that both of them are just perfectly aligned for that archetype.
Yeah. If only they were in the colors and 1 and 2 mana apiece. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a reason why the white tapper doesn't tap mounts, so that you can't so that you can afford to do this into the white tapper.
Yeah. Which is nice, which is really nice. Yeah. So we'll see how this plays, but I'm encouraged in the fact that I think it's very cool. I'm somewhat discouraged in the fact that you can tap something that just came into play, which might mean it leans a little more on the aggro side. I don't think the format will be super fast, quote unquote, but it's just something to consider that Enlist was good even when you couldn't tap something that had just come into play at Summoning Sickness, and this can. So we'll kind of see how that plays out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm worried that the first week is going to be turn 2 trained Arix, turn 3 Miriam, keep the snakeskin veil and the game basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if there is like a Scourge aggro deck that can get away with the game quickly, it's either this or the plot with the Doc Orak or whatever it's called.
Okay, that's Saddle.
Spree.
Yeah, so it's just a type of card. It's not necessarily. I guess maybe I don't think it's a mechanic, but it's everything is kicker, right? Yeah. So this is everything is kicker or flanking. This is the kicker. So 21 cards. Most of them are uncommon. There's some common, rare, and mythic. They're across all colors. It is a mana sink. This is what I would imagine is probably like the biggest mana sink of the format. When you look at the cards, you'll see almost all of them will have a good buyout of a 2 or 3 mana spell you can cast that is pretty close to being on rate and something you would actually want in your deck. And then if you have 5 mana, 6 mana, you can cast both modes, or some have like 3 modes. You can cast all the modes and just use your mana really efficiently to generate a lot of effects that are just what you would want to be doing in a game of Magic. I think one potential interesting point is, are we going to have time for these? And I think we will. And then the second one is, when are you going to, what decks are you going to put these in? Because many of them have just 1 mana of the particular color, and then their spree costs are all generic mana. So when we get to the slide and 1 or 2 slides, we're looking at mana fixing. It's pretty abundant in this set. So are you going to be able to? It's very splashy. Are you going to say, I'm happy to have this, explosive derailment or this getaway glimmer or phantom interference in my just 4 or 5 card green deck? And thankfully they realize some of the really powerful ones, like the Unfortunate Accident, they add another black in there for making it a little tougher to splash. But I can see many of these just being I'll pick them when I see them, pack 1, I'll figure out what colors I am, and if I end up being 3, 4, 5 card green, I can still play this. So I'm not losing the power level that I might otherwise have gotten rid of. So I don't know. I think these will be really cool. Yeah.
The thing that I think of most when I see the generic costs, like being able to pump a bunch of generic mana into something, is the bounce land.
Oh, your land, yeah.
Bounce land, with generic mana, more ways to use that. I don't know. I think land drops will be important in the set, because you'll have things like this that let you spend mana more continuously. Yeah.
Okay, Jason, so now we know. Turn 1 desert, turn 2 bounce land, turn 3 replay the desert.
No. You probably play your mail into explosive, derailment, so you don't fall behind, and then next turn you double spell.
Maybe.
Then,
yeah, they all look good. I mean,
Yeah.
and I like the fact that most of them have this like. You don't want to be casting it for the cheapest option, but you have
Right.
that possibility
buyout,
if the situation gets tough.
Well, derailment,
I mean,
you're pretty happy to have
You
two in
will,
a red
yeah.
murder.
Yeah.
As we all know, 2 in a red deal 4 is basically 2 in a red murder in this set.
Murder.
Yeah,
it's murder.
I mean that's what we saw. Yeah, and you'll play your quench if you really need to, or you'll say I'll play my Mystic Snake on turn 5, and that's pretty good too.
Yeah. Oh, I do love the Phantom Interference. I think I put it.
Yeah.
It's unclear how much Mystic Snake will be Mystic Snake. Also, Zach wants back
with like plot and double spells. Yeah, we'll see. I guess, but I have hopes for sure. I know they didn't do it. Yeah. No, you first, Jason.
The one that I'm most excited about here, in terms of seeing how it will play out. I don't know whether it's the best one. It's probably not. Derailment seems pretty good, but Dance of the Tumbleweeds is basically cultivate, right? You find your bounce land, get a land to hand, no fixing in it. You're just finding colorless, but like cultivate.
Yeah. No, I think many of these will be good to very good, and we'll see what happens.
What you're trying to say is that the first one is a cultivate, the second one is what was the giant adventure? No, the giant with the
Oh, fractal something.
Beanstalk giant. That's
yeah. I will say I know they didn't do it, but it would have been cool if they had put Micromancer back in the set. That would have been an easy.
Oh wow, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would have been fantastic. But I get why they didn't do it, but would have been pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So that's Spree.
For Spree, it's just generically good.
Yeah. So Mercenary tokens. We talked about this when we looked at some other cards. But these are your 1/1 token. They can tap, and they kind of do the Traffic Minister effect, where they give +1/+0. They don't give you the life gain, but they do help enable some attacks that maybe you didn't have otherwise. Maybe allow you to take your going wide to build something that's a little taller to maybe push through an attack. And they're predominantly in Mardu. There is a white-green mythic that's not on the slide, but I mean you'll take it and just win the game. But I mean they're in Mardu, and they're mostly at uncommon. Almost all of them are ETB, but some are a trigger, like the middle one, the Brimstone Roundup. When you play your second spell, then you generate this 1/1 Mercenary token. Knife Point. When you've committed a crime, you generate the token. Otherwise, these are like ETB or death triggers. And I guess we've kind of talked about some of these strategies, and we'll probably see them in the deck shells, but there's some obvious benefits to these types of cards, and it's something that is going to be tough to block, like a flyer, or this is just a piece of cardboard that you can sack for some benefit. Or if you're just, going wide, you can set up multiple potential attackers that are challenging for your opponent to block favorably. So I think that would be good. I'm not sure how to evaluate this as percentage of a card. And I think that'll probably depend on the particular archetype you're using this in. So maybe that's a fruitless discussion, but if we want to spend a minute or two on it anyway, just to get some thoughts flowing, I mean, that could be kind of interesting.
I mean, when I built my builds around Mercenaries, I did lean quite heavily on those because every build of Mercenaries I plan to do has the new Bastion of Remembrance card. That one also makes a Mercenary, and whenever an outlaw you control dies, you drain for 1. So obviously this is a natural build for trying to have as many of those 1/1s as possible. So I think that all those cards that activate to make a mercenary when you commit a crime or something are going to be better in this particular style of deck. I just don't know if that's going to be feasible at all. I think that Format Posse looks like one of the weakest signposts in the set. But who knows? Maybe it's actually busted because the games will be lasting long enough thanks to the Bastion thing that you will be casting it for 5.
It's possible. I will say one thing they did with that Bastion, which was frustrating when I was building my deck shells, because I had to fix 3 of them, but it's probably good for gameplay, is it's not committing a crime. It's just each opponent loses a life and you gain a life, which is probably good. If you were also committing a crime when that occurred, that would...
Yeah, and making a mercenary through that, obviously. So it might have been just a bit too much.
Yeah, I would imagine so, yeah. What do other people think?
So the weird thing is, like, I feel like there's not very many ways to utilize tokens in the set. Like, I don't know, things like Team Pump, though there is one red common, or like just other ways that we would naturally see, like pump spells, for example.
Yeah, you've gone wide,
partially because they like utilize themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they tap to give things +1/+0, so like it's harder for them to be dead on the board. So I think I'm not exactly sure how things will line up. I could see it going many different ways, and I would need more experience to know for sure.
I mean, at least to put in perspective, what was Traveling Minister? I mean, that was a top 5 common in the set.
But One Life is huge.
One Life is very huge. No, I agree. These are not the same, but also you did have to actually play that card, whereas this is tacked on some cards. So I don't know. All that to say, I feel like this is probably closer to 3/4 of a card than like half a card. But you're not getting the life gain. You're not affecting your race quite as much that way. But I don't know. So this
they are like the thing is, like, Traveling Minister did something on defense. These do nothing on defense, or like they're 1/1s on defense, whereas Minister like gains life.
Yeah. Could Minister do that that was only sorcerer speed, right? Could you do that at
it was sorcery.
Okay, I didn't think so.
But still, I mean, you gain life on your turn,
right.
And that
you make a touch of the race. Yeah. Val was,
I don't know. It's going to be hard to.
Yeah, Flying is a good comment. I'm going to read. Val was a set with smaller than usual creatures. This set seems like it has smaller than usual creatures too, though. So it may be somewhat comparable to Val.
Yep. Like we saw the close creature sizing, and I did make that comment earlier about like how I think that's honestly probably like design wise because of Mercenaries, I would guess.
Yeah. Which makes it. I mean, it's encouraging when you see a mechanic that says, if I can these little 1.5 for ones here and there, and I can actually be in combat and take advantage of being in combat more effectively than my opponent, like I can leverage these micro advantages that do add up over the game, because we haven't necessarily seen that in some of the recent sets as much as maybe we have in other sets. So it'll be pretty cool to see if that is how it plays out. Yeah,
I don't know. Looking at those cards in general, Mardu area, it just sort of reminds me of the Ikoria Mardu wedge and how it was built. I just miss like few key cards that were important there. Like I don't see weaponize the monsters in here. For example, I don't see the poacher. I mean, the white black signpost maybe does some kind of an impression of a poacher, but
there's a lot of white and black cards that care about sacrificing or using like rectangles on the battlefield for value, but it's like all at uncommon, and like there are sacrifice effects at common, but they stink. There's like the 4-mana zombie that like sacks a thing for a counter or something like that for 2
and
mana.
Treasure.
And the what?
It also gives you a treasure. I'm pretty sure.
If it's a mercenary, it gives you a treasure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like
which will be.
Which is okay. It gives you another rectangle to sacrifice or something.
Well, that treasure gives you a vampire from the black-white signpost. And,
exactly. That you're splashing. Yes. Don't look at my deck shell. It's definitely not in there. It's in there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think this will probably play better than you would look at a 1/1 that has like a social ability.
It will take time to figure out also.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. At knife point looks like an interesting card with the mercenaries, because you can basically force them to chump block every turn.
Yeah. It would be nice if it cost 1 more mana and like came with the mercenary token, but
Well, that's why you have the 1/3 on board, or you play the top.
That's where you put your mana.
No, it does cost 1 more mana. You play this on turn 4.
There you go. Yeah.
Or with your normal land, and then you ping them for 1, and you get your mercenary. No, that's how it works.
Or you Skullduggery on their turn. Yeah.
That's also an option. Okay, I'm gonna move to the next one.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yep. Desert.
So we're not going to spend much time on this, except to say this is a class of land that exists. I spend time on it every slide. Yeah. I mean, like these will matter for some cards a lot more than others. There's some good removal that gets better. There's some 2-for-1s that get better. There's some rares that are already ridiculous and somehow get better with deserts. We'll we'll see some of these. There's what they're not on here, but the dual lands, there's 10 of them. All the different color pairs are deserts, and there's it's 50% is the basic land, 50% is the dual land. So like there should be an average of 1.5 of those per player. So I guess just keep that in mind. We've seen that for other sets, other Dave sets, other sets in general. That those will probably be good to very good cards. Even if you don't have a desert payoff, you just can get crime, fix your mana.
Oh yes, I will be talking about this in my archetype skeletons.
Okay, awesome, good. Yeah, we don't need to belabor the point here then, probably. Yeah.
Like this means something at least, because if I remember correctly, in Kaldheim you got dual lands were at the rarity of normal common. If they are 50% of the time, that means that they're half the rarity of a normal common. So they would be basically uncommon level cards, the dual deserts.
Yeah, you might have to pick them higher. It's close. Well, I think it's close to that though.
If there's 50% of them and the boosters, that means that there's 1.2 of them of each of them per pod. And commons are usually 2.4 per pod, so they will be like half as often.
Are those numbers updated with boosters, Circo? Is it like still 2.4?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at your numbers. You said that there's a 50% of a land.
Well, yeah, the 1.5 is updated, but I can't remember the number for commons versus uncommons. And
commons. It's now it's 2.25 commons per pod rather than 2.4. That's the only change, and 0.9 uncommon. So it's going to be closer to an uncommon in rarity than
for any.
It's been the same in Ikoria, for example.
Right. This is for any individual desert.
Right. Yeah, for the individual desert. Yeah.
But I think it's more important to think about the chance of getting like number of deserts. Spoilers. I think that there are.
Yeah, but I mean. The number of deserts will be also like half of what it was in Kaldheim in terms of the dual lands. So in Kaldheim, you got 24 of those per.
No, I'm pretty sure Kaldheim they were in this land slot. I'm pretty sure they were in the land slot, like 50-50 tapped dual snow land versus snow basic.
So to bring it back from
they had the snow basic land as well.
So to bring it back from Boomer to Millennial, DMU had these and it was like 60-40, right? Like 60% dual,
I think something 40% like that.
Planes, yeah.
DMU had they had them in the common slot in DMU.
Oh, they did too?
Oh wait, no, those were common slots. Yes, those did not.
Okay. That makes more sense. I remember decks with like 7 and 8 duels.
Yeah,
and that wasn't.
Yeah, you can easily get that.
Yeah, I don't think. But, I mean, we'll look at our shells, but I don't imagine outside of week 1 you will get many decks that have more than like 4 to 5 of these, and most of your decks will probably have like 1 to 3. I would guess that's like week 1 to week 2.
The big thing for me is that the big thing for me is that I think there are some decks that might want to play half on color deserts. Yeah. Like they're not one of the colors are just not just not being used for mana. And
you just want the crime.
The higher point is tap land commit a crime or tap land deal damage.
Yeah.
Or tap land be a desert.
Yeah, the tap land deal damage is interesting because aggro generally is not excited to put a ton of tap lands in there, but I mean the 1 damage is like 5% of their life. Yeah.
There's no good 1-drops.
There's a few. I mean, yes, there's some in red where you can plot for a red or play a red 1-drop, but yeah, there's not as many good 1-drops as we've seen in some recent sets. Yeah.
What do you mean? The owl. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think the owl will be good. I think the red plot instant or like enchantment will be good. I think the 1/2 first strike will be fine to good. And I guess we'll kind of go from there. And then their interaction that's 1 mana, which will be fantastic a lot of the time, but yeah, you're not playing that on turn 1. Yeah. So these are deserts. Pick them.
One thing I wanted to say. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, there's not like, except for the green blade, there's not all that many reasons to like collect a lot of deserts. I guess deserts do as well. It gets upgraded with each desert, but like there's no like Gate Colossus desert payoff in this set.
Yeah. There's not a Ram. There's not a Gate Colossus. Yeah.
Let's see. But like the thing is like it's fine that there's no like desert thing because like these are half as common as gates, right? Because like in gates, in Guilds of Ravnica Legions, every single pack had a gate,
Sure.
right? Yep. So you're not going to have nearly as many deserts as you had gates, and like yeah, sure, like only 2 cards in the set care about number of deserts as opposed to just having a desert, but like having a desert will still be important for more cards in the set. I think like let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like 9-ish cards get better when you have at least one desert. Though 3 of them just.
But that's the thing is you want at least one, right? Then things really turn on, and then like from there it's kind of gravy for a couple cards.
But like for the ones that need you to draw them, right? Like Cactarantula, right? If you want to consistently have a desert by turn 5, you probably want like 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, it's you need 3 sources for a splash, so you probably need 3 to get something on by like turn 4 or 5. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah.
And keep in mind that unlike the gates, we have many more of those than the tent. So we have the Conduit Pylons and Mirage Mesa at common, which will quite boost the numbers of those by quite a lot.
Yeah. We can jump to the next slide.
All right. I'm going to move to non-desert things.
Yeah.
Fixing.
Yeah. I actually have to take care of my kid really quickly. I am confident that Jason can speak to fixing very effectively.
I somehow wanted to suggest, but Jason disappeared this second.
No. I'm just getting my charger is all. I didn't want to like, I don't know, show people a moving view of my apartment.
Yeah. I guess I'll spend a minute on saying a lot of it is green, which we would expect. But there are artifacts that help with fixing. I'm not showing the cards that generated treasure, but some of those do exist outside of the Rock Sentinel. They're in red. And then we also have, we'll talk about the lands later, but there's tons of cards that are saying, hey, you don't have to play 2 colors. You can play 2 color in a splash. You can play, 2 color in a few splashes. And obviously some of these will be very good. Some will be kind of meh, but just knowing there's a density of fixing probably allows you to say, if I am going to be green X and I'm going to draft these cards in the place that I think I need to draft them, like I can get them to be able to support my spree cards, to support my rare and mythic level cards that are 1 or 2 colors off from my main color. I can get more power into my deck. I can do some fun things if I can get the game to go on longer. And I have a bit of consistency because enough of these cards exist that I should be able to get something that hopefully is premium, but at least like is middle of the road for fixing.
Yeah, so one thing that's interesting about some of the fixing in the set to me is there's quite a few cards. So this is like 4 cards here in fixing that find, or I guess 5 if you count Silver W, that find a desert. And also like there's actually, I believe nothing in this set finds just a basic. Yeah, because like all the fixing here, instead of saying basic, says basic or desert. Yeah, which is interesting to me because there is a 5-color desert. There's the like Crystal Grotto variant thing, right?
Well, no, there's also the desert that like is like Shifting Veil or whatever.
Oh yeah. There's that as well, but specifically with a fully 5-color desert, like even after you play it, adds all 5 colors of mana. Is that it helps support like a 5-color play style more, because like if you can only search for basic or like even that Sherman-Drift Veil, like you get to choose which basic, it becomes like that is harder to splash 5 colors for, because you have to commit like, oh okay, like I can either fix for my white cards or for my red cards, my blue-green deck, but like not both at the same time. Whereas like there's a desert that does everything at the same time. And there's also like a bunch of the fixing here is just 5-color fixing, right? Like we have 5-color fixing, we don't have like find a land fixing. So I think 5-color decks are actually going to be easier this set than like not just 3 colors, but like fully 5 colors, splashing for a bunch of stuff. And this is also like this can even help if you don't just have like a regular duel, right? Like a blue-red desert can fix for both blue and red in your black-green deck, right? So like if you just ramp a blue-red desert in your black-green deck, suddenly all of your cards are castable, right? So that's interesting to me. Also, the desert finders of course, can become cultivates when they find your bounce land. So I think the bounce land will be a high pick, though it is also weirdly like in tension with multicolor stuff because it's double colorless. So that will be an interesting dynamic to see. Like, how many bounce lands do you want max? Like maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2. How many can you afford in your multicolor decks? How good are these Search of Basic Search of Desert cards anyways? Like, do you want to play 3-mana Search of Desert? You don't want to play 3-mana Search of Basic. So,
and sort of a fun trick, and maybe this is brought up before, but with the Hard Bristle Bandit, your deserts essentially enter the battlefield untapped because you can get an additional mana from the bandit.
Yeah, I generally don't like just pure 1/1 mana dorks that like don't have any other like things that they do, right? Because like they become irrelevant in the late game. But between like there being a bunch of mana sinks with 3 cards and also like the fact that it's a double mana dork theoretically, that reads a lot more appealing to me with Bandit.
Does all make sense. Any thoughts on Treasure? Or
I mean, Treasure's good. There's a lot of it in red. I think Gruul's going to be doing a lot of Treasure stuff. And then there's like a build around. There's sort of like a sub theme with like Jolene and the Gold Rush card. I don't know how good all that stuff is, but Jolene. I'm going to get Circovit's copyright struck.
I'm begging you, please don't ping my dork.
don't skullduggery, bro.
Well, luckily no pinging effects.
Jolene itself pings. That's why I was making that joke.
Oh wait, does it?
Yeah, it's like Sack of Treasure ping something. Anyways,
no.
So you just stand up buying that probably. But
okay, we do have mana fixing lands, and these are mainly the dual deserts. But I think Mirage Mesa and Conduit Pylons. Conduit Pylons looks like a pretty playable card.
That's the Crystal Grotto variant.
Yeah, with the Surveil, which is good.
Is this just
probably
better than Crystal
some
Grotto?
than the other?
Because it's got types?
Well, the thing is, like, I think Crystal Grotto type effects are very like dependent on the set also. Like Crystal Grotto, I believe, was better in Eldraine than in DMU, maybe? Or wait, no, maybe it was the other way around. I remember it was better in one of them than the other. I don't remember which one. Very helpful. But I remember some of it was like based on context of like just the context of the set. And there's the cave one had a type, but like instead of surveilling or like instead of scrying it, like had an activated ability of like sacking it to put 2 counters on something.
Yes, and that was fine.
That was fine, yeah. I don't know if Surveil is better than Scry here, like meaningfully. I mean, like there's not very much.
In Lotus Field, I would play the Scry one.
Sorry, what?
In Lotus Field, I would play the Scry one. I don't want to put Omniscience in my hand or in the graveyard.
Yeah, but I mean, like in Limited, like mostly I just don't know how much upside it is. Mostly it's upside in Limited, but unless you're getting milled out. But yeah, I don't.
Green black gets a slight boost.
Green black. That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I think this will be worse than in DMU, and it's tough because like it's worse of an effect than compared to DMU and Wilds of Eldraine, because like there aren't those mostly on color cards that have off color upsides, like the adventures and the kickers.
Sure.
Similarly to like Ixalan, right? It has a type though, and like you can find it with various things, which does make it better. Unclear where that balance lands.
There's also these random like 3-color cards, and I think a lot of them probably are not good. But
rares?
Rares, right? Like there's like 20 or something random 3-color, commander legends or like whatever that are in the set. And I don't know, you're gonna want to splash them somehow.
Yep. Some of them I mean, they are only in the 5 wedges. Yeah, this is like a sub theme of the 5 wedges in this.
They're not like they're mismatched, right? There's no Asban one, like for example.
Yeah,
there's a
because
teamer. There's like 2 teamer ones.
Yeah, they are only in 5 of the combinations of the 10.
Yeah, but they're not wedges or shards. They're mismatched.
Oh, okay.
There's an Esper one, but there's no like whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's gonna really affect the draft archetype in any way. It's just like these are cards that they wanted commander players to play mostly, and limited players get to like try them out. Like, you know, once in a blue moon, you're gonna maybe have your sweet Obika draft deck where, you know, you go off a little bit with her, but I don't
How
think
many
she's gonna be.
upkeeps do you want to have?
Oh, 1 million upkeeps. Give me all the upkeeps. I'm sure there's got to be some. Jason probably knows already. Like, well, what are we brewing with Obika? But it'll happen once in the format, maybe.
If you're asking me in limited, the answer is literally just Laughing Jasper Flint. It's really funny. There's like no cards in this set that trigger on your upkeep. Oh, I guess there's 2 in Big Score, but like it's really funny how few cards there are that trigger on your upkeep in this side.
Very, very useful, very useful card to have. Okay, let's go to the big picture of each caller. Adam, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so we will try not to spend too much time on these because we do have deck shells, but in general, it seems like White does have a package that says, you know, I can play defense. I can turtle up. I can make it tough for you to attack into me. I can kill your stuff when it does. But also it can kind of say, if I want to be aggressive, I can push damage. I've got, you know, the 2-drop that can give first strike. I've got a way to like tap your creature down when I attack. So I have ways to push damage. And then I have some instant speed cards that are just really good. So White seems a little divided in what it might be like. What Jack of all trades, master of none. Like, it has some good cards. They push in one direction. Good cards push in another direction. Can they play well together? I don't know. Maybe. And then some good cards you may just want in kind of all the decks. So White seems a little disjointed.
I mean, historically, White, when it's split, it's not doing very well.
Right. So. Yeah.
I think White can maybe be a bit better because I think honestly this could be like a Neon Dynasty White kind of defensive sort of angle, because like Trained Erranks is like one of the only White commons that is aggressively slanted, and everything else is just really defensively slanted, right? Between like the 1/3 lifelink, and like, you know, things with Vigilance and Take Up the Shield also performs decently defensively, right? Or at least it performs better when you like at its best. So it is still very good in aggro. It performs at its best when you're more mid-rangey or defensive. So I don't know. I think it's White might be fine this side. It's just like,
yeah, it's not on rails. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't know
focus on the defense is fine. It's just like usually it does badly when it's like evenly split. That there's half of the cards don't go with the other half, and here it does look like you can cobble a deck together that will be.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's evenly split. I think it is more.
You can put those cards in this half, and I wouldn't say that it's wrong. Like, Holy Cow is a great defensive card for me. I mean, giving the life.
I mean, this might be like the White Blue where they said you're doing the tapping. And you're like, no, actually, I'm just going to be a good control deck. Like, yeah, there may be some ways you kind of can make White happen that maybe intuitive for some, but maybe not straightforward for others. We'll just have to see. So that's White. Blue, I probably could have just put like instant speed interaction for like all of this, but tried to diversify it up a little bit. So there's a lot of really cool tricks. It's probably the top 2, Phantom Interference and Take the Fall, that are just...
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about interference.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see, but I am optimistic that it will be a good to like good plus type of card. It'll give you ways to spend mana on your opponent's turn, and you can hold up. Or you can just say, I have a buyout of a, end of turn 2/2 flyer, and then I'll just go on with my life.
Are you worried about plot, Jason?
I think
What do
plot
you
will
mean
affect
by
it
worry?
some.
In
Like it
terms of
becomes a
like
dead card, you're saying?
you're
or-
sitting with the phantom interference in your hand, and everyone is plotting stuff, and then
Oh.
casting it for 0 and being always
I
fully
just-
untapped. And
I'm just
Oh.
slightly skeptical of Mystic Snake when it only says like unless you pay 2, right? Like I think it is definitely better than Quench, right? Quite obviously, it literally has 2 other modes compared to Quench, but like it's unclear to me exactly how it will play out. There's some chance that I think there's just some chance that will be awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I think when one of the archetypes is saying, I'm trying to play 2 spells on my turn, you'll probably be able to counter some stuff. Or with green saying, I'm going to try and be big on board compared to other colors by tapping out on turn 5, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. Like, I think there will be ways you can use it. Will it be, a B- level card? Probably not. But like, will you be able to say, okay, I have my mana up and there's 3 different things I can do, and this is one of them? Like, yeah, I think it'll have that option. There not being an impulse in the set or like an instant speed draw 2 is disadvantageous. I mean, I guess there's the uncommon like spree card for blue, but yeah, it doesn't have all the pieces you want of like bounce, card draw, and counterspell to be able to build like the true complete package, which does hurt it some, I think.
Yeah, I'm really
still might
worried
be
about
alright.
lack of card draw. Like, I'm really worried that there's like very little proactive things you can do at instant speed.
Yes.
And that is, I think, what is missing here. Like, you can counter your opponent's stuff or like shrink their stuff, maybe bounce it. And there's even the aura removal spell you can flash in, but like,
Yeah.
you can't really commit. There's not even really. I guess there's the 4/4 flash that might be important, but like it feels kind of bad to like.
Yeah,
play
coming
a
in
4 mana
tap.
4/4
Yeah.
flash.
Yeah.
there is the draw 2 for 4 mana. That's instant speed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
plan
you
the
want
heist?
that. You'll have to play this with some color that is getting on board, such that you can say, opponent, you have to do something, and then you can interact favorably with it with your blue cards.
4 mana draw
So, like,
2 is uncommon, right?
It's the uncommon, yeah. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
0/1 rabbit thing, or draw 2 or both. Yeah.
You got a holy cow.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
cow! I forgot. No.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I think it would have
did
been
forget about
nice
the
if we got it'd be nice if we got our surveil or whatever on the bounce spell without having that just like a baseline. But we're all going to play desert turn 1. We've established so that may end up being like a fine card. And then we have other ways to use our mana. So like we'll look at some decks where it may not be like plot go or draw go, but there may be some opportunities to say I'm not going to do as much on my turn because I'm leaving mana up. To loot or to like play instant speed stuff or whatever, or I'm gonna plot something and then I'm still maybe have 2 mana up or 1 mana up for like some interaction on my turn. So that's like the Strix and the Lone Shark. And then we will be committing some crimes in blue because we're bouncing, we're giving minus 4 minus L or whatever. We're countering stuff. So there's some payoffs. But many of the payoffs are going to be in like pairing this with black or pairing this mostly with black, like your payoffs for doing crime. But so I'm not sure about blue because it doesn't have the true trifecta of stuff you want at instant speed, which may kind of like doom it to just being like an okay color, not like an above average color. But I don't know. We'll see.
And there is repulse at uncommon.
There is repulse, yeah, which is amazing. But I'm not going to count on
that's a
getting
good
repulses
instant
late.
speed, way of
It
doing
is, yeah. You will play. We had a nice discussion in another Discord that is currently streaming right now for a set review about whether you would put repulse in and basically splash it in any deck that's not red-white, basically. And I said maybe not black-red, but other than that, yeah, I think you'll play repulse in like 8 of the 10 color pairs. So
You're playing the deserts anyway.
yeah. So it's whatever. Yeah, you'll get it splashed. Green, you're gonna play in green X because green will find you your blue-green desert or whatever. You'll play it in every blue deck, and you'll probably play it in like a smaller game, white-black. You'll make a treasure.
You
You'll
meant,
just
of course,
draw
the
cards.
Corticals Discord, isn't it?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that one. Yeah.
He who shall not be named.
Yeah. So that's blue. So black also has instant speed interaction. Its interaction looks I'll say stronger. Like it looks as good or better than blue's interaction. There's not a typical like trifecta for black that I'm aware of. It's just like kill your stuff. But it can kill things at different levels and at different mana values, which I think is really nice because if you have 4 mana up, it doesn't mean you're holding up, consuming ashes. It might mean you have, a 1 or 2 mana interaction spell plus, some other interaction you want to play. So I think, and all these will play nicely, particularly Skullduggery and Desert Stew, because we saw the scrunched up 2 to 4 toughness, a lot of small things. I think these are, you might just kill what you need to kill, or you might just use this in combat, be able to kind of have an advantageous, 2-for-1 through that. And then the top 3 are just generating 1.5 to 2 cards. Like you're drawing a card with Plunder when it ETBs, you're getting back a good card and affecting the board with Mourner's Surprise, or you're turning your 1/1 into a 1/1 with upside.
This is the question. Is it Plunder just broken?
I think, we've seen Phyrexian Rager that was just okay in Bro.
It was good.
But this will trade better. This will not attack well into Mercenaries, but this will trade well with 4/3s or whatever. So
it was in Rager was in DM New. There was a different Rager that was 4 mana in Bro.
Oh yeah, the 4 and those have all been this
the 4 mana Rager was much different, right?
Yes, you can play that in whatever deck, and yeah.
Also, that one had Unearth, but it was much different because it was cheaper, but more expensive, but Unearth. But Vault Plunder will be good. Sometimes you'll commit a crime and ding your opponent for the last 2 with Raven and Plunderer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sometimes.
That will. I hope to do that at some point. They're at 2, and they're dead.
Yeah, no, I think Black looks very solid just because it has a lot of just good cards. I don't know.
Yeah. If your synergy is value. Yeah. If you're saying I'm going to kill your stuff and not go down on cards because I'm getting 1.5 or 2-for-1s, that seems reasonable. And then actually it at least has 1 2-drop. I think this Desperate Bloodseeker will be good to very good because you're this is a 2-drop that I'm happy to play for offense or defensive purposes. This Raven will probably be fine to good in the right decks. And this Buzzard might just be something you plot on 2, and then you play it on 3 or 4 for a 3/2 flyer. So it actually has things you can do on turn 2 that not every color pair outside of green has. so yeah.
Wow, so you guys actually do like black then?
I don't like it as much as green, but I don't think it's the worst color. It's probably in the middle somewhere. Yeah,
I think black is the color I am most excited for after green.
I could see that. I could see it 2 or 3 potentially. Yeah.
I have the weird tingling sensation that removal is actually going to be decent this time around. Not
it's almost like things don't have Ward 2 and they don't all have ETBs or something. Yeah.
And they're not 1-drops.
Things don't have Ward 2, but they all come with a counter and hexproof.
Yeah.
Yeah. For 1 green mana. Yeah. Or 1 and a white. Yeah. So actually, this is a note. This is a note that was brought up by Springbok, if you interact with them. The black interaction is pretty good against Take Up the Shield. You're giving -2/-2, or you're exiling with Consuming Ashes, which is notable because I had Take Up the Shield as 2nd or 3rd best white common, and it still probably is, but I don't think it's a B- level card like it was in DMU. It's probably still very good, but you can still get blown out by it with it.
Was it just because the other cards are pushed further even? So
well, yeah. But
was Extinguish the Light, did that exile in DMU? That was the 4 mana instance blacks.
I don't think it did. I played a lot of Take Up the Shield and was always happy to have it. So I don't think it did. Yeah.
Okay, shall I move to the next color?
Yeah.
Move along.
So red also has good to very good interaction. I think we looked at the chart. 95% of your creatures are going to die with 4 mana. So having an instant speed, deal 4 mana, 4 damage for 3 mana, it just is great.
One interesting thing is about derailment. Sorry to derail, but
you're good. You're fine. Yeah,
is that I think artifacts and enchantments in the set might just it feels like they're more vulnerable than usual. Just everything randomly kills them.
Yeah, you have stuff actually main deck that happens to do it. Yeah,
derailment or
the 2-dropping green.
Yeah.
No, I will. I will still play Mindslaver, but there are some artifacts that I may be a little like cautious about just running out there. Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, red, we have stuff that does instant speed interaction that can kill a lot of stuff with derailment. Kill a decent amount of stuff with salvo. I'm not maybe as hot. I don't know where people will sit on salvo, but I think it will be fine, but not like amazing. Because there are some ways to double spell. Like you have plot, you have some single mana spells, but I'm hesitant to feel like it's going to be able to consistently kill something that's an X3 and very consistently an X4. I just don't think that's going to happen enough to feel like it's going to punch above its weight.
Triple spelling
trick shot
hard.
Triple, yeah. I mean, you can like maybe plot and like maybe on like turn 6, like play a 2 or 3 drop and then do it, but then you're losing out on like the instant speed ability of it, which is you play instant sorcery speed, like that is oftentimes fine, but sometimes you're not able to get a 2-for-1 by like blowing them out when they try and do a trick or whatever. When they're
I think that salvo is the card that doesn't age very well with the game. It's going to be fine in the first 4 or 5 turns, and then it's going to be rapidly declining.
That's a good way to think about it.
Which actually is going to improve as the game goes on because you have a higher chance of drawing into deserts.
Yeah,
you're not gonna quintuple spell on turn 10.
No.
Yeah. No. I plotted my draw 3 on turn 6 and somehow didn't decide to draw 3 for the last 3 turns. And I'm just ready.
I'm disappointed they didn't print Grape Shot in the set.
That actually would have been pretty good. That would have been pretty cool to put in the OTJ or OTP or whatever.
Well, does that actually work? Because like that's like you're copying that spell. Does that count as casting for each copy?
No. It doesn't count for Thunder Salvo, but just like it's just unrelated.
You're plotting stuff. You're trying to double spell.
Okay.
Like, it would have been awesome.
I think it would make sense with the counter that exiles everything on the stack.
Yeah. Also, you can just like machine gun down their mercenaries or whatever. And then you have trick shot, which I guess that. Yeah. Also an option. Also, there's a lot of value in red. So the entire right side is just saying, I'm going to get like 1.5 to 2 cards for 1 to 3 mana, which I think is what you usually want to do in Magic and Limited. So those all seem good. And then we have a crime payoff or like a crime enabler in the middle that is repeatable for just a single mana. So that's just
How good do you think
compare well?
That's going to be?
Yeah, I think in some archetypes it will be like above average. I don't think I will play this Deadeye Duelist much in like red-white, for example. They'll give you a little bit of reach, but like I'll be happy to commit crimes in red-black.
Sure.
Like, so I think that would be good, but I'm not sure about the other color pairs.
I mean, red-white you might want to for the double strike guy. Like that's pretty good.
I'm just going to put my lasso on turn 3 on the double strike guy 100% of the time, obviously.
I mean, I have that in my skeleton too.
Yeah.
A fellow chucker, eh?
Yes, of course, yeah. But it's just nice to know there are some repeatable crime sources. I don't know how that's going to affect when it's drafted. It'll probably depend on how, like, is this going to be LTR where we're saying anything that says keyword X, which for that was like, the ring tempts you is just like you drafted half a step higher than you would otherwise or not for crime. So I don't know yet. I don't know, but having a repeatable crime card is something to point out, I guess.
Well, the difference is that Prickly Pear is just awesome. But the difference between LTR was like basically almost every color pair cared around about
tempting,
being tempted or in some capacity, right? And here it's only kind of the Grixis colors that care about crime.
It's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like you ended up with Grixis colors also tempting most of the time, just because
good cards are good.
Didn't have the tools, right?
Yeah. So that's red. I mean, and obviously there's more to it than that, but I think it's a good. Yeah, that's fine. You're good.
I mean, we got to cut it somewhere. We're closing in on 2 hours.
Yeah, we already talked about fixing, so just suffice to say, you can play more than 2 colors in many green decks, I would imagine. Green has the chonkiest of chonkers. Like, it actually has cards that say, we're not going to die to a 2-mana removal spell, which is pretty nice.
Not in case of playing against Jason, who has at least 7 deserts and
yeah.
Dusk can kill anything with 2 mana.
And then it also has good 2-drops, so you can actually get to play your 4 and 5 drops and not be dead by then. And then it has Snakeskin Veil, which will probably just be amazing in this set. And then like a good bite spell. So I think green.
So many good cards.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
Every
Naturalist looks busted, and I'm not sure if it's going to make top 3 of the best green commons.
Yeah,
I think it does. Let's see. Snakeskin Veil, Naturalist.
Paladin.
That's my ranking right now.
I'm probably Snakeskin Veil and Paladin will be within like 0.5% of each other, and Naturalist will be like 0.5% below them.
I don't know. 5 drops. I think you want to hit your mana.
I mean, I'll just play 17 lands, and the Hand Smoother will bless me, and it'll be okay.
Hand Smoother, grumble. You don't talk about that.
No, even if you're playing best of 3, in real life, normally we see these life gainers at 6 mana, and normally they don't have trample, and you normally can't play them on turn 4 if you really need to. And I don't know. I also, this set is just really small. Like a 5/4 trampler is just saying like, I'm gonna run over you. Like, so I don't know. We'll look at deck shells, but
yeah, that's true. I just mentioned that Zach's internet has died.
Yeah. The eclipse got him.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
So that's green. Are we at deck shells now?
Yeah, we'll go with Zach's first. No.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. No.
You see, I put the tiny bones in the skeleton.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
After the complaints that it was not supposed to be murders at Karloff Manor.
I just want to see Organ Hoarder.
And after complaints that mid was not good enough for you.
Mid was a great set. I mean, I started back in Strixhaven, and I was like cutting my teeth. And then mid, I was like, okay, I'm in the 62-63% win range. Like, okay, I'm good. And then I got brought down to earth when I played good players. Oh, no, I have a lot to learn. But mid was a good time. Mid was fun.
I like mid as a set, but double feature was one of the better formats in the recent years.
It was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. We have a lot of deck shells
here.
You
played with the normal graphics cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to open the. I'll have to switching things. So now we're going to start talking about the.
Real quick, Jason, are there particular decks that you want to make sure we talk about so we can figure out where order is going to start? Because we're going to go like one at a time. Are there ones that you're like, we want to make sure we look at yours for you're like proud of or think it's really interesting?
I mean, okay, so the things that say like not coherent are mostly just, if I were to talk about them, I would mostly just be shitting on the archetype. I would be like, I don't like this, or like the awkward needs more support. Like I would be like, I don't like this for these reasons.
So let's not circle. If we start with me, then we will miss Jason's not coherence, I think. We can go me, Jason, you, me, Jason, you. Yeah, me, Jason, you, me, Jason, you. Yeah.
Oh, I want to show off my 12 murders, but that's fine. It spans.
Sorry. Which one do you want to show off, Jason?
12 murders. The one that is.
That's fine. We're flexible. We can give people multiple runs.
We will do that. With the current order, you'll get 3 murders, tricks and creatures, and 12 murders. So you're good.
Yeah.
So first I go with the pass the turn from Adam.
Yeah, pass the turn. Yeah, let's take a peek at that one.
Let me first adjust how it looks like.
Yeah.
That's 15 murders. That's so many murders.
So many murders. They should make a show and put it on Hulu/Disney Plus about this. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to stop sharing.
Okay, let's see.
We'll be bigger for a second there.
Yeah. Oh, I look a lot better with smaller videos, grayscale.
With me, no camera.
Lights off. Yeah. Okay. So I did try and more or less lean into the
optimized for the size.
Yeah. I tried to more or less lean into we're going to try and plot cards. We're going to try and not play too much on our turn once we get to 4, 5, 6 mana, play 7 instant speed, have interaction, so we can take advantage of the gold cards. I think the 4-drop will be pretty good. I am not sure about the 5-drop, but I'm willing to give it a try because it certainly has a lot of upside, and we have ways to protect it. So I tried to not put any rares or mythics in here, and I put like 9 to 10 uncommons, and I tried to limit duplicates on commons to only those that I think are like could be pretty essential to the deck or just really good. So like I think Take Up the Shield just in general is a good card, but we have certain high value cards we want to protect, which are mostly our gold uncommons. To where I felt like, okay, this is worth like having more than just one, but probably 2 Take Up the Shields, because we're trying to build towards like getting on board, leaving some mana up so we can interact, so we can get our abilities to draw a card or generate a 2/2. I don't want them to just kill my payoff and me just like cry in a corner. So I want things I can do at instant speed that are good. Yeah. And then because I'm probably not doing that till like turn 4, 5, 6, I feel like I could probably have stuff that costs, like 2 to 5 mana where I can either like double spell on their turn or just do my Mystic Snake, Ideal Christmas Land World with Phantom Interference, or just like Take Up the Shield and like flash in a Holy Cow or something like that. Just things that I can do on their turn, which are at least at rate, if not above rate. And then I'm getting on board well enough with like some pretty good 2-drops that are mostly defensive. Like I have a Tapper. I have a thing that'll like grow when I don't spend mana, like the Prairie Dog. I have the Medic that'll just be a 1/3 that, will eventually draw a card when it ends up trading into like a combat trick or something, or the 05 Crab that just lets me loot to find cards that I care about. So this is a more defensively minded, try and turn the corner on turn like, 5, 6, 7 type of deck. Has enough card draw to like continue into the late game, and it might flood, but it has the Strix to be able to loot. It has the Crab to be able to loot. So hopefully that's enough. So I'm not like overly optimistic about this color pair, but I think it could potentially be all right if you have a more defensively minded, just like strategy to it. So that's how I built it. I mean, I'm sure there are other ways to do it, but that was the thought process.
Yeah, I don't trust the signpost in this. I mean,
you should add back.
I built the Skies deck, just fly.
Oh no, we can look at your Skies deck too. I mean, there are enough.
Fine.
I mean,
it's just a bunch of flyers and interaction.
Yeah, I mean, Holy Cow is not inspiring Overseer, but it's also not Windrake. So like, I think it'll be all right. And then we have other flyers and other stuff. Yeah, so it seems reasonable.
So one of my worries.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of my worries specifically with Take Up the Shield is Take Up the Shield is a card that gets a lot stronger when you're using it in combat, right? Because because of the lifelink, and it's not as ideal as a protection spell. Notably, it doesn't give hexproof. So like, I don't know if I love the plan of like, oh, I'm just gonna hold up my Take Up the Shield to like protect my payoffs, right? It might work if they're playing things pre-combat, but like they can also play things post-combat or like in response to the Take Up the Shield if they're trying.
They can. I mean, I'm ideally not blocking with my like gold uncommons, and I'm probably putting everything else in harm's way. But like other than the black interaction spells, I think Take Up the Shield should be fine. But you're not getting a 2-for-1 like we oftentimes would get the Take Up the Shield when you're on offense. So I agree, it's not going to be at its best here. This is more of like a gosh, I wish Snake can Veil.
Spell if you want to,
Oh, the blue one? I guess. That was an uncommon, and I tried to limit uncommons. But yeah, I mean, that would probably do the job. Yeah.
I mean, it's not an uncommon that's going to be going super.
Yeah. It will likely be picked, 6 to 14 or whatever. Yeah. I could have maybe snuck that in here. I mean, if I weren't trying to limit myself, then that would probably be as good or better than Take Up the Shield and this more defensively minded deck. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move this one, and we move to Jason's 3 murders.
Yep. One more try. You should add back Zach.
Do I have to?
Oh, sure. Guys, fine.
The first few times I said that.
I knew this was part of his bit. He's been scheming to get me out of here since day one.
Yeah, I even asked your mom to turn off your internet, but
you might know this. There are 3 murders at the side. I'll get to those in a bit. So this is just like blue-black crime. I just think Raven of Fell Omens is a very strong card. and I think there's also some pretty strong cards. Like I like the campaign and I like Hall. And there's, I don't know, Black just has some strong cards overall, interactive cards, Plunderer, like lots of ways to get 2-for-1s. There's nothing too special about this deck. It's just like getting 2-for-1s, getting and playing like efficient creatures that like, you know, this deck has a lot of life gain between the Bloodseekers that with lifelink and the Raven and Intimidation campaign as well. And like you just play good stuff. I don't know, just like I would not say this is a control deck. It's like a mid-rangey deck, but like it just has good effects. And like Bloodseeker also being a crime is very nice as well. One thing to note.
So you're planning to mill your opponent in this particular situation.
Yes. One thing to note: there is the blue uncommon. That's like whenever you commit a crime, mill your opponent for 3. That's a 2/4 for 3. That's also something that can work here, especially with the Bloodseekers.
Desperado.
And some last things about like the specific like cards that are on screen right now. The 3 murders just represent like anything that like just like interactive spells. They don't have to be murder, obviously. Like I just used murder as a stand-in. Like I don't know, something interactive, whatever. You could like put in some bombs as well and over various slots. I didn't include any rares here. And also there are 2 off-color deserts here to represent that I think you will play off-color deserts in this deck. Like you don't think it's black?
Very valuable.
The pink deserts only, yeah?
Yeah.
The ones that target,
because like
mainly for target.
Yeah. Okay. Because like if you, I mean, the non-pink deserts are just good, are maybe just good anyways. Like Crystal Grotto could maybe be good sometimes, and the obviously the 5-color land, the one that's like choose a color, you can just use that as like a blue-black land. But you know, if your land is dealing 2 damage and gaining you 1 life, that's really good. That's like worth a tap land, right? And like with all of this incidental drain, like even just playing one of these lands on turn 1 and your opponent starting at 19, that's worth a bit. Like I said how I like have done 3 drafts already. I've played a game in the draft already where like I like played a off-color tap land on turn 1 and then later had exact lethal, and like would have died if I didn't have exact lethal. So
exactly, because in when I'm looking at this build, playing a desert and pinging for 1 is basically like taking off 3 turns from your clock. No?
Yeah, no, this looks like a deck that on turn 8 you're going to look up and say, I have 3 more cards than my opponent, and our boards are even, or I'm even a little ahead. And you're like how do they win from here? You're just like nickel and diming them. You're getting card advantage. You're just
very nickel and dime.
Yeah, the campaign is just classic nickel and dime card.
I hope that card's going to be good.
By the way, I mean,
it is like Dovin's Acuity.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote it as a tweet today that the name is misleading because people think about the disinformation campaign. This is Dovin's Acuity. It's exactly Dovin's Acuity with slightly easier trigger. And instead of gaining 2 life, you just drain 1. That's same result in the end.
And just a reminder for those who are not boomers, Dovin's Acuity was very good in that set, right?
But
Dovin's Acuity was in a particular deck that was good. Disinformation campaign was, I think, more like a generically good card because of the discard.
But there is a way, like if you really want to be doing this stuff, I think there is a way to loop your graveyard, right? There's like a colorless artifact that will do that for you.
Yeah.
It is in my build.
Yeah.
I have 2 of the 0 golems because I know that I'm going to go through all the deck, and they're going.
I'm glad someone did it. I knew Circumvents would do it, so I didn't bother with that particular strategy. My version of Dimir is a lot more. I based it off of NCA's Dimir build, which is like all 1-drops and stuff, and it's just like. Well, that's a part of the course for NCAA. But there's like all this stuff. There's all this like little stuff that commits a crime, right? So I wonder how like Dimir will find itself being built. Will it be mid-rangey? Will it be like, or will it be more low to the ground and like sort of like almost? I feel like there are builds that are kind of like maybe this is gonna boomer me, but like Dimir rogues in standard back in the day. It's sort of like doing aggro control-y stuff with like all these little things that are pinging and coming in for little points of damage, and then you're maybe this is just like because there's a few cards that randomly mill too. Sort of build your own whatever that card is that flashed and milled your opponent. There's really no mill payoffs in this set though from getting your opponent to a certain level of cards in graveyard.
Other than just killing them.
There you go. That's the big one.
If you get them to 0, they're good.
The flavor text for the Desperado.
Oh yeah.
Just like that's got to be Mark, right? Or
one would imagine, yeah. I mean, as a new dad myself, I can appreciate the dad humor, and that was like a 10 out of 10 on that scale.
Oh, you are a multiple dad now, aren't you? Or is it the first one?
Oh, first one, yeah. That I'm aware of.
This is the first.
Yeah.
Wow, you just got your dad joke license.
Yeah, yeah. It came in the mail. Yeah, I'm good now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That opens a whole new possibility on Twitter.
I know. I have the excuse now. I'm good.
Okay, I mean, I built my Rakdos deck as a Mardu deck, mainly because I think that there's plenty of the multicolor space that will be available for the mercenary builds that you might want to tap in. White does not have particularly good mercenaries. There is maybe the 2/2 double striker, but it does have some of those late value cards that I like. Eartha Joe, Baron Bertram, all these cards are generating small value. I mean, Eartha makes another mercenary. Too. Baron, whenever you make a token, it makes a rogue, so it makes an outlaw. And generally, when I think about making this deck, I'm thinking aggro, but aggro that doesn't hurry too much. Aggro that plans to ping opponent out with Rakish Crew and use some of those payoffs to generate quite a lot of small 1/1 creatures, and maybe sacrifice them here and there, make something, and use the early turns to deal some damage in order to get ahead on board. And then there's plenty of things that I could put in there. I didn't put Prickly Pears, although they probably definitely should be in there because I forgot about them. I think that cards like Ruthless Lawbringer are good splashes for it because you can just kill bigger things and push through with your 1/1s while sacrificing one of the mercenaries. That is quite easy. Nezumi Link Breaker, I think a good card in this archetype because it will generate things and keep your board at the same size as you trade, which is nice. I think that the Miner might be good because you can recur it, and it's a rogue as well. And surprisingly, it's a 2/2. I like most of the time I thought it was a 2/1 because those things are always 2/1s. It's a 2/2, so at least it doesn't get chump blocked by a mercenary. But generally, you want to put a bunch of creatures, give them some bonuses, either with things like the Posse Boss, or there is the thing that gives you first strike and generates 1/1s whenever you make a crime, and just use those with some interactions, and somehow the games are closing themselves. The only thing I'm missing is like a bit more resilience in drawing cards. I think that Baron Bertram is the only thing that can mimic the Bushmeat Poacher from Ikoria that was essential for that set's Mardu Aristocrats deck. And I'm thinking that lack of it is a bit problematic for it. You would want more of those effects. But maybe you can play village halls of whatever they're called in this set instead.
Yeah, I think my main worry with this kind of archetype is still just like, I don't know if there's good ways to utilize your outlaws that much or your mercenaries. Like, it feels like you don't have ways to like get through green creatures. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
yeah, I think that 5/4 game 3 life. That's pretty much game set match there.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask, like, what is the answer to that? Yeah, like, is it something?
Yeah, I would like a pieces on or something, you know. But there's nothing like that in that.
There's the Trumpet Blast, no? I guess that
Yeah. There's the trumpet blast.
It doesn't save your creature.
Yeah.
There's quick draw.
But it helps you to get through. I mean, there is the first strike enchantment that gives first strike to mercenaries. I think that one, if you have enough like crime payoffs, might be pretty decent.
Maybe.
I have 2 Deadeye Duelists, so I probably should be playing that as well. I mean, this is one way of pinging opponents out.
Just don't queue into green. There you go. Solved it. That's going to be tough, I think, unfortunately, with this set.
Yeah, I'm sure that those Mardu decks are going to come together, but they're not going to come together well, I think, on the first couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure that those decks might be decent. They will take some time. They took some time in Ikoria. They will take some time here. Well, the green decks are going to be ready from day one, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have 2 and 3 mana interaction that will kill 4 and 5 mana green cards, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to like be on board and maybe with some evasion and some ways to like push through. So I don't know. We'll see how it comes together.
And you have to pressure them so they can't like wait to
Yeah, they can't be like, I'm
turn.
going to plot this. I'm going to hold my mana for that. Like they have to affect the board. Then you can like use your interaction spells when they can't do a snakeskin fail or can't do something else. Yeah, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, present. That's Zach's now. Talk about your
for which archetype?
Gruul.
Gruul's gonna smash, yeah.
Ooh, I love Gruul in this set. There's so many good things. I think like also Gruul, because all the treasures, just means that you get to splash some powerful thing, and that could be whatever. I just chose the Gitrog monster because that opens up using. You can also use this Stable Master to splash it because it is a mount. You can mount the Gitrog monster and roleplay Thalia if you feel like it. But yeah, you just like get to produce so much treasure and value and smash. And so maybe it's got like soft AFR Rakdos vibes, just with the amount of like treasure that you're producing. But like I think this archetype's going to be good. I think any green archetype is going to be good. So
I had a question when I was building this one. I was really looking for a trample trick or just like good tricks in general. I guess we have Gold Rush, which is pretty cool, but like did you feel the same? Yeah, Grizzly. So I ended up putting Grizzly in for that as well. It's like I'll just give my whole team trample and it'll be okay.
Yeah, Grizzly, there's the overrun as well.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant. I mean, I played when like OG overrun was getting drafted and it was very good then, but I'm hesitant for like knockoff overruns in 2024, but maybe it's good enough.
I don't know. I had very good result with Bustle. I had very good result with Greenbelt Radical in the previous set.
Greenbelt Radical. It was on board.
Sure.
Yeah.
Adjust your plan and basically,
I mean,
try to go for board stall. But I think
it's sort of hazardous blast, right?
You're
like I will just have a board and then I'll play this card and then you lose. So I guess kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Not a bad plan.
Yeah. It worked in one. So why can't it work
with you winning?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I'm not that high on the Lucky in this deck in general.
I am curious about your double. I like Bristleback Sentry. I'm not sure if I will be happy about playing 2, but I guess you're thinking you're going to be able to get it a counter or it's going to accrue stuff. Like, do you have the 4-drop that I'm looking for the?
Well, I have got 2 Grizzlies and I've got Jolene.
That works,
and
I guess.
Gila Monster. Like, there's a lot of 4-power stuff here that just turns this stuff on.
That's true. Yeah, I was looking for the Beaver to actually give it a counter as well.
There's the Mercenaries here occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You do the Mercenary, you pump it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I guess probably Lackey is the thing that doesn't belong in this deck that much. I was mostly putting it in for like getting a treasure later and like using it to ramp to fatties, but. Yeah, that's a little bit awkward.
I think you should like curve out with big things. Like I don't know. One of the things that I put in my like as a note under my green red skeleton is that this like it's kind of just a green X skeleton because like all the good cards are green cards.
Sure.
Most of the good cards are just green cards here, I think.
I think Beavers
this is a question I had. So I usually treat green X is like, what's the color that I want to be like green something X to be 5 color? and I guess it might be red because you get treasures in red for this set rather than like green white X or like green blue X. Like, do you feel like that might be the case? Or do you think green red just might be aggressive enough that maybe it isn't the ideal 4 or 5 color green home, and you want to be like green blue 5 color or green white 5 color because it's more defensively oriented?
I think it won't matter that much because a lot of the green cards just like fix by themselves and like
they're just super strong.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good green cards. And green red will probably be more aggressive because like of Cactus Folk Sure Shot being a really, 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 really strong aggressive card.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the number of reallys there. But
you mean a 6/5 haste on turn 5 after you played a 4/4 is good? Okay.
With Ward 2.
Makes sense.
Your 4/4 has Ward 2.
Yeah. Which is fantastic. Like I haven't looked at it yet, but like what can any of the 2-drop interaction spells, if it didn't have Ward 2, like could they kill it? If you had 2 deserts, I guess the black one.
Have 2 deserts. Yeah.
If you have 2 deserts, the black one could trade even.
And it's a mercenary, so you can't shoot. You can't do
the long goodbye. Yeah, you can shoot sheriff. Yeah, you can't. If you played 2 spells and could play the Ward 2, you can use the red one, I guess, which is not going to happen ever.
But that's 3 mana though, so that's now 5 mana.
Oh no, I meant the one in a red, but it gets plus mana, plus damage for each spell you played before.
Oh yeah, the red.
But you're not going to be able to triple spell and pay Ward. Yes, the red one is 5 mana with Ward. Yeah, that seems really good.
No,
good
red,
for putting Ward 2 on
this. Deal 5 damage, uncommon.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah. The red deal 5. Yeah, yes. So there's like one spell that is even on mana, and then there's a few that are like +1 on mana. Like you can do the white, one of the many white. I guess there's the O-ring for white. There's one in a white that's on the list or whatever, I guess.
Oh yeah, the Journey to Nowhere or something.
Yeah. So there's not many things that punish you playing this on 4.
But there is there is a playable. There's a bear green drop. 2-drop. That can sack and blow up a thing, artifact enchantment, which you might want to just start throwing in like one in your decks, just like even best of one to have that option.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's good at baseline, but yeah, especially.
I always want to have one of those.
Yeah, I mean they have Buried Alive, or no, what the Buried in the Garden plus like that 20 million O-rings. Yeah,
7 Oblivion rings, 7 Oblivion rings in the set. Thank you very much. 7 Oblivion rings.
Wild.
7 billion rings
to rule them all. Yeah.
7 rings. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
How many rings does Shang-Chi have? That's 10 rings.
10 rings. 10 rings.
I'm off it.
Yeah, no, too many. Too many. Not a prime number. No.
You know what? That's a nice free design idea for the Marvel set, which they're doing. So they should have 10 Oblivion rings. Well, 9 Oblivion rings and a Soul Ring, and there you go.
There you go. Yeah, the Soul Ring will be a serialized number, of course. Yeah, yeah. What are we pulling up now? Is this white black?
White green now.
Or white green? White green. Yeah.
This is mine.
Yeah, I think.
No, I'm Adams.
We can do whomever. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it says mount mid range. I mean,
is this mine?
Yeah.
No.
Ours probably more because the green cards are good and the white cards. But yeah, I think many of the mounts are just like fine to good on rate, and some of them, like when you have a gold card that says play mounts and another gold card that says no really like play mounts, then you should play mount cards. And when the mount cards are like I'm a 4/4 vigilance for 4, that seems pretty good. So or a 3/1 first strike for 2, like so we're gonna play some mount cards.
I'm glad we both included 2 Take Up the Shield, 1 Snakeskin Veil. I think that's going to be a big part of green white. It's like, I don't know, you were never your stuff can never die.
No. This reminds me of Neo green that went tall, where I was like, if I play my Boseiju reaches skyward and they kill it, like just own the game too. So I don't want them to kill it. So yeah, like you need protection spells because you're saying I'm going to tap something to mount something to get a benefit. And I'm going to use this mount to attack. So like, I need to make sure it doesn't die, or else I'm just so far behind. So like, it might be 2 snakes can be whatever you want interaction, or like ways to stop interaction.
Take what you can get.
Yes, yeah. If they pass you snakes can veil turn 6 or pack 6, they don't no to take it, then yeah, you'll take Snakeskin Veil and be very happy for it. And then there's a lot of good 2-drops in green. There's enough in white in general, but particularly in this color pair where you're saying like, I can do my mount stuff. I can find mounts with that card. Like that card, the Seeker will be good regardless, but this will be like, wow, like this is amazing in this deck. I think the 3/1 will be good. I don't know where the density of like, so like within list, you would say, I'm going to list 1, maybe 2 things in a turn, depending on like what the attacks in the box look like. I'm not sure how mounts will work. Or you're like, I'm going to mount 1 thing and swing with it plus my 1 big creature. I'm going to mount like 2 things and roll in interactions. But like, I don't know how that'll play out because I haven't played with the set yet. But
I mean, I guess we're going to figure it out very quickly.
We will, yeah. But I think all of these are just like on rate are good. And then you get a benefit on top of it. So like in terms of pecking orders, I would imagine white-green will be like a tier 1 type of deck because it can protect its creatures. It has good interaction. It has green, which I think will just most of the green decks, if not all the green decks, will be good to very good.
You had me at green.
Yeah, you had me at green. Yeah. Like it has good 2-drops. It has good 4 and 5 drops. It doesn't have to do gimmicky. Like I'm plotting. I'm trying to double. So it's like, no, I'm just going to play beef that is tough for you to kill. And I'm a little bit interaction.
As Richard Garfield intended.
As Richard Garfield. Correct. Yeah. So
drop the creatures clean.
Yeah. Turn them sideways and keep them from dying to 4 mana interaction spells for 1 and 2 mana and profit.
And you have access to all 7 Oblivion Rings in this particular archetype.
You do. Yeah.
As Buried in the Garden is one of them.
Yeah, I didn't have.
Oh no, sorry. There are 2. There's three blue whites. No, you don't have access to all of them.
I didn't. When I built these, I didn't have access to the off the presses stuff. But yeah, obviously, if you could, you would have a Buried in the Garden here, and you'd probably splash here or there because it's more mid-rangey. But yeah.
Yeah, I just think that as much as I like Snakeskin Veil and Turk Up the Shield, I feel the lack of the frantic strength / staggering size.
Yeah, we don't have a well, I guess if you can get Trash the Town, which is going to be very good. Like, yeah, you don't have trample tricks other than that one, but I don't know.
Draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Trash the Town is basically the green inscription, just reprinted as uncommon. No?
I mean, more or less, yeah. I could see this struggling if like it doesn't have flood mitigation exactly, unless you get like multiple Dispree spells because they are good in these colors. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
That's why the trained Erranx is so good. Is because you also get the Scry, which I think really does matter.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that as soon as turn 3, which is good. Yeah.
And you don't have it in this deck.
Oh, you get the mount. Yeah, I think you could probably put the Shepherd of the Clouds in like any white deck, but this is obviously where it shines because you're like, I will return my Griff to the battlefield. My Possum to the battlefield. Whatever.
It's
holy cow.
At that point.
Holy cow to the battlefield. Yeah.
Wait, holy cow's not a mount?
But it's 3 or less, so you have to have a mount in play. And this I imagine in these color pairs you'll have between like 4 and 6, 4 and 7 mounts, without having to say I'm putting cards that are so in the deck because they're a mount. Like, I think there's enough good mounts in these color pairs, so you'll be fine with that.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah,
neat. So now we have
Selesnya beats stays winning.
You can skip to my 12 murders if you want.
Yeah. I'll just go with my white-black grind just to have.
Didn't we already see your white-black? Yeah.
No, yeah, but it's basically different.
It's not splashing, or is it splashing a different color?
It's not using any red, no, but it's still Baron Bertram.
Oh, you showed incredible restraint, Circovitz. I feel like the SpongeBob, like the Squidward meme. It's like, I'll have a Baron Bertram. Daring today, aren't we?
I'll add in a Lawbringer. Oh, okay. It is nice that these play well together, though. Like making tokens to sack and.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if this.
Oh, you did the dredge? Yeah, I did that guy too.
Yeah. Because that with
I don't know if it's going to be any good. I mean, they must have put this card for something, and at worst, it's a vanilla 2/2, which is never.
Well, doesn't it?
All
it
I can
makes
think
the-
of
with Fair and
when I
Bertram.
see Treasure Dredger is during my set review with Julian, NCA in the chat being very disappointed with how high we were rating Treasure Dredger. Notably, we rated it anything above unplayable.
I mean, it's a 2/2 for 2 at the minimum. Like,
Yeah, how bad can that be? Get on board.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, makes treasures, which make a vampire, which then draw your card.
Yeah.
And
So I will say, even if we didn't have Bertram, a wise podcaster and content creator that I saw once said, when you're wasting your mana on these first few turns, you're losing percentage points for winning, 2 to 3 percentage points per turn when you're wasting mana. So what if we just turn that mana into a treasure that we could use later to double or triple spell? That seems pretty good.
The problem is that you need to get cards for that, and unfortunately, this one doesn't have much
you
of
have the
the
plunderers in there. That's fine.
I thought that you were going to be quoting a well-known podcaster and streamer, G-Guards, that says, well, sometimes you need to put a 2/2 in your deck.
No, this one doesn't do 6 life.
Because this one gives away a lot
whatever,
of Tavern Swindlers vibes. But
No,
they made it in the cone. I mean,
this
there
is
must
not
be
Tavern
something in it.
This is not Tavern Swindler. This is mana maximizing, set up your ability to double and triple spell, do good things.
I do like the Mourner's Surprise in this deck, like particularly just recurring and just nickel and diming, just getting.
This is a small game color pair in this set, like usual. It seems like just trade off.
I like the
back.
Contractor particularly. I
Yeah,
mean, I think that you're going to get enough of the triggers here and there to get cards out of it, and then recur things and whatever.
that's a Marduk card if I ever saw it. Yeah.
But this is more like attrition. The other one was more like combo aggressive, and this one is strictly attrition. You just spin the wheels all the time and try to get small values out of it, and ping people, drain.
Yeah, this is a color pair I could see some splashing in because you're going to play a longer game. You might get some treasures.
Sure.
Might see some cards. Yeah.
What is the old tech?
I was going to ask that too.
That's one of the. I mean, this card is just
a super mythic.
Whoa! It's not super mythic because I'm pretty sure that those things are going to be as rare as rares.
No, they are as rare as mythics, basically.
Okay, well,
and
some of them are as good as an uncommon. But this one is actually quite good. It's a 3-mana 2/4. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can make a 1/1 gnome. Or a copy of a different token.
I guess we had, real quick, we had a question about black fixing splashing. I mean, we commented a little bit on the treasure. It is on an uncommon. I mean, I guess there's like some card draw, but in terms of like fixing.
Well, just fake your own death. That will make.
I don't know what the comment means. Like, what are we supposed to remark about it? It somewhat exists. It doesn't exist that much. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not drawing cards as much as you are in red or blue, but you have some ways to draw. Yeah.
There's dual lands.
And you have the treasure, but it's in an uncommon. So, yeah, I think there's a chance. I think this one could more splash because you're saying the game is going to go longer. I'm going to get more draw steps. I'm going to play a later game card. Yeah.
There are a few common treasure makers in black, but they're not like great. It's like Fake Your Own Death and the zombie mercenary that needs you to sack.
That's true.
Something.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can do it. You just have to like work for it, and it's going to make your deck maybe worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you might run a Fake Your Own Death. That I don't think is realistic. Oh, and there's the pan, the gold pan.
The pan, yeah, get that gold pan action. Yeah.
I think honestly, if you're splashing in this deck in a deck without green, you probably would want a pan. Like this deck, well, if this deck was splashing, I think
if you had more flyers, maybe like if you had the Raven things or the Holy Cows or whatever, I'd be more into panning it up. But
the problem is pan is not a great small game card because you're spending a piece of cardboard on like something that only works if you have a creature.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's like incremental value, but like it's better when you have a late game thing. Sorry, it's better. A big game is what I meant to say.
You can't
you have stuff on board. You can always put it on something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm super surprised. I didn't put the 1 mana thing that you can get back from your graveyard to the battlefield.
The minor.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably an uncommon limitation or something. Yeah.
But the corrupted conviction, that only lets you sacrifice a creature, right?
Right, creature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately. Anyway, it's similar but slightly different in the game plan from the.
Yeah.
So now I have. Then I started blasting from Zach. Are you proud of yourself?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be that good. I just threw in a bunch of cheap Is It spells, and I was like,
we know
that probably is going to work.
It's a good start. I feel like, yeah. I mean, I see cards I recognize here, so.
So yeah, I figured this is the home for Thunder Salvo, and I don't know. You're double spelling. You put in a Loan Shark, you'll probably be able to do that. Take the Fall is awesome here.
Take the Fall is the -1 attack or -4 if you control an outlaw. Yeah.
I don't know about playing the heist. I think maybe just because like you can plot it and then you have your big turn and it becomes part of the process here. And Razzle Dazzler, like I guess this is the home for it. I don't know how good that card is.
Razzle Dazzler is the 1/2 that gets a counter whenever you double spell.
Yeah,
I mean, I play something on 2, but
I think that the strength of this deck will be highly dependent on the strength of Razzle Dazzler because like I feel like you need a cheap threat to go along with your double spelling to like actually make your stuff threatening, as opposed to you're just like, I don't know, 1-for-1ing with a bunch of your opponent's creatures with the red removal. So
yeah. When I built this, I had a lot of spells, and I was like, I need some board presence to do something. So maybe Razzle Dazzle will do it. I don't know either. Yeah, you can only draft so many prickly pairs, unfortunately. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, the fact that it makes 2 creatures doesn't mean that you're double spelling.
Right, but it's just a good card. Yeah.
That's a paper-only play. You explain to your opponent that I've made 2 objects.
Yeah.
I do like the Peddler.
Unfortunately, I believe the reminder
that's one card I really like in the double spell. The Peddler, just being able to stop you from flooding on lands, because if you're double casting cantrips, you're going to flood on lands quite heavily.
Do you have the Tormenting Voice? Is that what Highway Robbery is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's good.
I think that'll be really good in this card.
Very important. I think
I put 2 of them in mind, even though it's not normally a card I want like 0 to 1 of. And this color pair, I feel like I can't lose gas. I need to be able to double spell at least like 4 to 5 times in the game. Yeah.
But the problem with those decks is that they always look appealing and they never work because they are always intrinsically A+B synergy kind of decks. And
I think Wolverine will also be very important as a card that can like spell in itself.
You can see that.
Oh, that's a blue-green card.
Yeah.
The Wolverine? Oh, because it's got plot on it?
Well, I mean, just because if you're trying to double spell, you need something that'll be like a 1.5 or 2-for-1.
It is kind of important to note that there are not that many 3-mana plots. I was like looking through. Like blue-green does not get a lot of that.
Yeah.
And like there's randomly a 2-mana plot in black. Like I think that might just be the cheapest plot.
Yeah, the Buzzard or whatever. Yeah.
I guess that's not the cheapest one. There's the 1 mana.
Aura.
The Aura, by the way, which I think will be pretty good in this deck as well.
Yeah.
You can get very easy double spelling on the right turn.
Yeah. It's just tough because you're like,
what creature am I going to Razzle Dazzler on turn 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like you plot it, Razzle Dazzler, put an Aura on it, you swing with the 3/4 next turn.
And there's
would that actually work? No, actually, that's really good, right? Because you get a counter on Razzle Dazzler on turn 2, right? It's a 2/3 with this Aura on it, so it's a 3/4 Ministrable.
Yep.
Is that right?
Then next turn you play another Razzle Dazzler plus a Take the Fall.
Man, one can hope. That actually seems pretty good. Yeah.
And then there's the Snapcaster Mage variant, which I think is going to be nice with all your 1-mana like cantrips.
Yep.
Lockpicker, that's the one.
I am more hesitant on this than I thought I would be. I read it, I'm like, oh, this is just Snapcaster. And I was like, well, how different is it from the 4-mana, just like return the thing to your hand? Because I guess you have to play. I was trying to convince myself that this is very good rather than this like okay to good. You still have to have the spell in the graveyard that you want to cast.
Yeah.
And you're not affecting the board until you want to like cast this. So I don't know. I'm hesitant about this one, and it might be better than I think it is. But
I think it's very good.
I mean, it does do
Like,
double spell on its own, more or less, because you get something.
Oh no, I think and this color pair is probably going to play up, but I'm not sure what other blue X color pairs I'll be like super excited to play it in. Rather than
I think it is
fine.
I think it is an isn't card.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not that
let's
hard
move
to
to
like
the-
double spell for turn 5 with like a 2-mana removal spell.
Yeah, I mean, I guess green has that, black has that. Yeah, okay, that might be all right.
Let's move to the 12 murders, the very hyped 12 murders. But you have to tell me which link I have to click, Jason.
I
'cause
suppose
you
them
make two
link to the
links.
same thing. They link to the same thing.
Dear viewers, you see what I have to deal with, yeah? I mean,
you're not showing the slides right now, so they don't see it, in fact.
Well, it's a lot, viewers.
And there's also an ad break for some nonsense.
like this one has 0. This one has nothing in it.
Got him.
Well, let me see if I can fix that. Let me see what happened.
What had happened was
Oh, this one also has nothing.
That did not say.
Now
it.
you could
Okay. To
I
do
don't
something
know.
else, I'll build it. I'll build it live. It's fine. Do something else, and I'll build it live.
Okay.
All right, so
okay.
we'll circle back.
Who wants to do the vermin? Adam, it's your turn, no?
yeah. Let's go. Okay.
The vermin being the Golgari archetype?
Yeah. I mean, everyone did something on the vermin, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It's,
How are you pronouncing that, Circumvent? The vermin?
I think it's
Varmint,
varmint.
no?
Yeah.
It's not. We're not Gregor Sansa. It's varmint, not vermin.
I mean, I think they're basically the same thing. Just some are bigger, some are smaller. Yeah.
Well, Gregor
Right.
Sansa did find himself transformed into a giant vermin. That's the translation from Czech.
Oh. So the hope or the goal here is to play good green cards and to support it with good black interaction and just 2 for 1, bring stuff back from the graveyard, keep playing our good cards.
Well, this has a very major problem, which is it doesn't have the
No, it
rise of
didn't
the
have
vermin.
varmint. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually wasn't sure if I was going to have enough creatures for it. My original deck did have it, and then I was like, I don't know, I might actually just kill them on like turn 9, and I don't need to make 5 2/1s. But also I can make 5 2/1s.
I know you can, but that's boring. Isn't
It's
it?
not as fun. Yeah, I could make them discard a card and draw a card, and then just bring that card back when it trades with the Honest Rutstein or a Revival. But I could also make varmints. Yeah.
You didn't go for the all-in self-mill kind of strategy.
I did. I feel like there's enough to say I'm gonna have cards in my graveyard, but I'm not like playing. I mean, in real life, I play as many of these. What are they called? Desperate Bloodseekers as I can. I play as many of these mill cards as I can because I think they're just value and they're good cards on rate also. So
You don't have any of the Patient Naturalists, do you? No, you haven't. It's Circumvent's moved it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I moved all the mill things here.
Yeah. And this also is a color pair where I think you can probably splash some stuff because you're going to bring it back from the grave, or you're going to get some treasure, or you're just going to see more of your deck, or you're going to find it with Armadillo. So this is
And
one where you can
Revival.
say, I'm gonna,
That's nice.
you can splash some stuff.
I mean, you have back for more as well.
Yeah, and you're going to see enough of your deck with like some card draw, some milling, whatever.
There's also straight reanimate.
Yeah. I mean, I can cycle my Armadillo and
Ooh, imagine
1/2.
that the turn 2, the Desperate Bloodseeker hit something big and just dump.
Yeah.
Next turn.
Yeah. I think there's enough stuff that just on right is strong in green, and there's enough interaction to like make it so they can't profitably block your bigger creatures from the black side of things, or just like reanimate or like just bring back your green stuff. I think black plays pretty well with green, even if it's not like a strong big archetype. It's just like graveyard. Like I think it can still work well.
What do you think about Rutstein?
I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Fine. I mean, but are we playing it on turn 3? Is it Umori or?
I mean, if I've traded off my 2-drop with them, then yeah. If not, I guess it depends. If I have something that can bring it back in my hand, then yeah, I might consider it. Or if I can like play a 5-drop on turn 4, I might consider it. Yeah, but
I don't know. I think you need to draw a card with Rutstein.
I don't know. Let's say I did not trade off 2 drops and I played Rutstein on 3 so that I can play like a good.
Even if I can play 2
5-drop
3 drops on turn 4, I mean, 2 3 drops on turn 4 are going to be pretty decent.
But I think you want to wait for the card generally. But
well, if they Deserts do your Rutstein before you get value off of it, you're very sad.
I mean, ideally, I'm playing Rutstein like 2 or 3 times, right? Like, it doesn't exile like Gloomshrieker did, so
that's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah. Ideally, I'm playing a Plunderer on 3, and then I'm Rutstein on like turn 6 and double selling with it or something. But
I'm just thinking in Standard how you could do like Doppelgang and Rutstein, and then they copy and you get like your entire graveyard back.
It's legendary though, is a thing. Yeah.
No, but it's the thing that they all die, and then all the copies die. It doesn't matter. You get all your like cards from your graveyard. Whatever.
You still have to cast them though. I mean, they're not cheaper except for like one-off. I don't know it. I don't play Standard anymore, so I'm sure there's a thing there, but I don't know what it would be. But,
it doesn't matter. I played against this like the widespread thieving deck that's using Cormella to like loop instants and sorceries, and that was a really cool deck. And I'm like just thinking about it.
That sounds fun.
It is fun, except when you're getting locked out of the game with
zero-sum fun. Got it.
Yes, exactly. My opponent was having a lot of it.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, the more I think Black-Green just wants probably to have 17 to 20 creatures in it, because like with Rutstein, with the Varmints, with the Self-Mill and Recursion,
you put in your interaction, put in your Recursion, and you just say, what are you going to do?
It's like the one deck where you don't really care about Snakeskin Veil. It's like, whatever, you kill my creature, it's coming back.
So
you just don't want them to exile it.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the worst color pair for Snakeskin Veil, but I think it'll still probably be good.
Yeah, for sure. It's
and that's just like it's a tempo. Like, do I want to spend my 5 mana returning something, or do I want to spend my 1 mana to like counter your
best deck for Grotto? But though, if you play the Grotto, you can get the Rutstein on turn 3 every single time.
Yeah.
Well, not every single time. Every single time you surveil a creature into your graveyard, you can play Rutstein, no problem.
That is a thought, yeah. Oh. And we're always going to have our 4 or 5 drop or whatever that we surveil, and we're going to be good to go. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's it.
The pylon's really good.
Cactarantula is cheaper.
Yeah, I think the Tarantula will probably go, because I similar to Jason, I think I would probably draft these deserts pretty highly. Yeah. That I'm going to say, okay, I can play Tarantula on turn 5. A good number. If I do the tumbleweed or the ramp thing on turn 3, I guess I could play it on turn 4. Which
Rutstein turn 3, with turn 4 Tarantula, easy.
Oh yeah, that's an option too. Yeah. But yeah, and then they're gonna kill it. I'm gonna draw my card. I'm gonna bring it back into play or to my hand, and they're gonna be upset, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I'm actually. The longer I think about it, I mean, it is green, so obviously it's going to be not so bad according to our predictions of green being way best color of all of them.
Yeah.
But green-black looks pretty interesting and pretty separate, like interested in some cards that no other decks are interested in, which is a good sign. Because it combines the best color with unique interest cards, like the Hollow Marauder is, I think, really strong if you can cast it for 4 mana. Even.
Yeah. I imagine you'll play the Marauder in a couple other decks, but this feels like the absolute best home for it, because you're self-milling, you can bring it back, you can just say, this is a 2-for-1 that you have to answer, because I'm going to like dome you for 4 in the air, or I'll just trade off and just bring it back. Like, seems like the absolute home for it.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Did you finish your 12 murders?
Yes. 12 murders is back online. I changed it maybe a bit, but I made sure to keep the 12 murders.
Oh my God! Okay, wait. Which one is? Which one?
Do you just want to like message it in the chat or shoot it?
No. Refresh.
I put
probably need to refresh.
Okay. I was nervous. Yeah.
I can paste it. I can paste it. Here, I put it in the chat.
We have the technology, folks.
Hopefully, I have it. 28 cards this time. That's a good sign. Present share screen. Okay. Here we have it. I hear a dog.
12 murders, as promised. So similarly to my 3 murders deck, right? I mean, this is a crime deck, but specifically, I wanted to highlight that bandit. I wanted to highlight that Hard Bristle Bandit seems like a pretty strong card, and is an incentive to like if you're trying to do the campaign thing, right? I think it honestly, yeah, it's blue-black, but Hard Bristle Bandit seems like a very natural card to put in this kind of deck because it can tap for a lot of mana, and that's what you want if you're spending 3 mana to draw a card and drain your opponent for 1. Raven also seems very strong in this kind of thing, and then you just, I don't know, removes all your opponent's stuff. Like you
basically with the bandit you can play all the Ariettes, lullabies, all the whatever.
So we're just storming off. You know? Got it. Okay.
Well, okay, it untaps only once per turn. So, like, you can make 3 mana with it by tapping it, untapping it on your turn, and then untapping it on your opponent's turn as well. But that's kind of hard to make use of, certainly.
Also, the Raven and the Bandit are common, which is fantastic. Like, you can actually count on seeing, like, 1 to 3 of these. Yeah.
This is 28 cards because I include 5 deserts because you're almost certainly want to be multicolor, and you almost certainly want a lot of deserts to, you know, to be untapped lands, untapped dual lands that draw a card, drain your opponent for 1. Hit your opponent for 2, gain you a life, and you know, draw a card. But yeah, I think Bandit's Hall is also pretty excellent here as like something to give you more mana. Like this is just, I have mana, I have card draw, I'm going to interact with you, and then you have the Tomb Trawler there just to be like Sam Black and to loop your deck. Because I don't know how you're killing your opponent.
So I'm curious.
You're killing with campaigns and omens.
Sorry, I'm not sure how you kill your opponent if they gain life.
There's not much of that in the set, thankfully. Well, how would you rank order the like? So if we're 1-for-1ing with interaction, the hope or the goal is that we're also drawing cards so we can continue to take out our opponent's stuff when they play 2-for-1s. Is Intimidation Campaign like your absolute, I want to have this, and then is it Seize the Secrets, and then is it like the 3 blue-green draw 3 card, or like how are you ordering those?
I think Campaign is the most important, definitely, because it gives you like a consistent engine. I would say Bandit's Hall is also important. It gives you a similar kind of engine, while also being mana. I don't care about Seize the Secrets. I just put it in here because it was common, and I'm using 12 uncommons for murders. To be clear, murder is not a good fit for this.
It's a placeholder,
it's an okay card, but like you want cheaper stuff. You want cheaper interaction, or just like I don't know, any interaction is fine.
So like these can be Desert Stew, Skullduggery, the Bite Spell, Balance, Repulse.
Skullduggery is the worst of this deck. No, it's like.
You want
inserting in combat, but
What do you think about the 6/2 worm? The 6/2 that gives -2/-2 to a target as a finisher.
Too expensive. I don't like it.
Well, but you have so much mana.
Well,
what we're trying to do we're trying to do something on our turn, something on their turn.
So Hard Bristle Bandit is for double spelling. It's not a good like. But
you can't double spell like every turn.
Sorry.
The 6/2 ends the game in a jiffy.
No, I don't like the 6/2.
I think if it had Menace, maybe, because you can keep them off most of their board, but...
What's the 6/2?
It's like -2/-2 on ETB, and then it's just a 6/2. But it costs just 6 mana, is the thing.
And you'll get the right card.
Oh, the Millipede. That's it. Okay, that's fine. I don't know. I add that in my, like, crime deck or whatever. But this is a crime deck anyway, so.
Yeah, here's the question. What happens when you only get 6 playable murders?
I mean, doesn't matter.
But like, you don't even want murder. You want like the deserts do. That's what you want.
I assume. Well, he's saying
There's
murder.
So many common, and every single pack also has like a crime.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you just play defensively static. You play your bristleback sentry. You play your stuff that makes with the can attack. And then you peck it in the air and you kill their stuff that matters.
To be clear, 12. I picked 12 because it's a funny number.
Yeah.
You get like
but it's a good question
or something.
Because like, on Arena, people will say, I'm going to pack one, pick one, the true murder, because it kills anything. So you might not see like murder cards, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5.
No, don't take murder.
Murder's
terrible.
No, but I'm saying you might not see interaction spells that will commit crimes as frequently as you might in like a non-arena draft, because people might just be picking those higher than they might truly warrant.
Yeah.
Outside
But
of
honestly, anyway, in this deck, Desert's Dew is probably better than the actual murder.
Oh yeah.
The murder is just all this stuff is a placeholder for cards that draw out the game, so Jason can outvalue the opponent.
Yeah, we do get it. We do understand that.
Yeah. Okay. But also, it looks pretty cool with all these.
You don't understand. I need to explain the joke so everyone knows how funny it is.
Yeah,
that's the secret of comedy.
Yeah, yes. I'm laughing over here. You're good.
Reading the joke explains the joke. That's the rule of comedy. If reading the joke doesn't explain the joke, then it's not a joke.
Well, then you just say it louder and slower.
Yeah,
and everyone gets on board.
Murder.
And now 11 more times.
Yeah,
I do. I know. I'm gonna give it a spin. This kind of thought. I didn't like click the bandit with the campaign. I actually built my campaign deck as an Esper one, but I see this one being pretty neat. Right.
What's next? How much do we have left?
We have 2 archetypes left.
Oh, is it? Oh,
no, that was blue-green, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm giving my Timur, and then the last one will be.
It's been 3 hours. Is that usually how this goes?
We plotted the first hour, and now it's coming up now. Yeah.
Now this is our big triple spell turn.
Yeah. Get excited, everybody. Yeah. Ooh, okay. I see Paul Bunyan, so I like this already.
Yeah, easy living. I mean, you can put a rat or something.
No Oko though. No
Oko. Doc Ockalox. Doc Ock.
Yeah, because
it's eight-armed guy over there. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I commented that can my blue-green skeleton just be Bonnie Paul? Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing is if you the big problem here is if I have Bonnie Paul, I want to get some black in the deck so I can reanimate Bonnie Paul.
Yeah.
That's like that's what people did with Izonian MKM, right? I was like, at the start of MKM, I was like, oh, this macabre reconstruction is unplayable. I'm going to be eating my graveyard to collect evidence. And then my opponent first, reconstructed Izoni, and I was like, oh, that's
this
the exact moment.
Oh, they got 2 A+ cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can do it, but the purpose of this deck is to try to maximize this card, because I think getting 2 mana is good, as Jason tried to convince us 50 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And this is a different way of getting 2 mana. And I think that the problem I found when I started building the Simic deck based on it, I just discovered that it's just not enough of the plot cards in blue and green. But then I noticed that there are really neat cards in red that plot, and especially the Irascible Wolverine, because it not only plots, but also after it plots, it exiles the top card of your library. And if you read the Doc Orlok, exiled spells also cost you 1 less. So you got like a sort of double whammy out of it. Plus, of course, the Longhorn Sharpshooter is pretty good if you can cast it for the plot. You have the Gila Courser, which also exiles cards from the top of your library, which will also get a discount from Doc Orlok. So it's a sort of like intellectual exercise of how to get the most value out of Doc Orlok more than anything as a coherent deck. But you can do it.
Turn 3, you'll play Doc Orlok, you'll plot the Wolverine, and then turn 4, you'll play Wolverine and exile a Bonnie Paul and play the Bonnie Paul, of course.
Yeah, that's your typical turn, but sometimes it can get better.
I will say that is really big brain. I just assumed that top text was like for other formats, but like that's legit. Like the Wolverine is.
I think that you will be able to build something like that.
It works with what, Jason?
The Slick Shot Lockpicker. You can cast your the.
Oh yeah. That's a good call. Yeah.
I'm so glad that Bonnie Paul is double pipped blue. Because if it was
there you have the slick shot luck picker for the spells. The only problem is that how can you squeeze in the spells in it? And I didn't find any good ones. Yeah. Make your own luck. I think it's decent because
I like it.
You draw some cards. Yeah. Maybe you can rebuy it then with the luck picker.
I'm just so glad that Bonnie Paul is a rare. Oh wait, I'm not glad at all.
No, it should have been a mythic. I don't know what they're thinking. Like they really want you to hate some cards.
Yeah.
Every good story needs a villain. And Bonnie Paul is going to be a villain unless I draft it, then it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Zero-sum game. But yeah,
every match needs a heal.
We shouldn't be locking ourselves into 2-color combinations in this format in general. I think that there's nice synergies around 3-color combinations.
Okay, I think if we were not trying to limit ourselves to 2, most of these green decks could be just green piles of awesomeness. And
I will caution that fully 3-color decks are hard to build.
True 3-color like 6/6/6. No, I don't think we want to do that. But
no, I don't think there's enough fixing, and especially that you want
to be clear with your 5 duels and 2 bandits. That's barely enough to support full 3-color like you have. But you need to have this amount of fixing in order to support fully 3 colors.
Yeah, that's probably the case. I mean, I made it a generous mana base, and probably it's going to be heavy on the green, then second heaviest on the blue, and then some red because I don't need that red that much.
This is currently plus 10 sources, which is just enough to get to 27 sources, which is 999.
Yeah. Which is a good mana. Which is a good 999 is a good mana. That's
good limited mana base. Not a good mana base.
It's good for limited, but like also you have to consider that bandit is awkward and the because it can die, and the tap land, the choose a color is not fully plus 2 sources, slightly less than that.
That's true. Okay, we have Zach's Who Needs Rares.
Yeah, finish this off.
This is the gimme archetype, right? But it's just,
I did not put any rares in any of my decks.
No.
Well, some of the students are just special. I actually do have a rare though. I just figured that you can probably pick up.
Liar.
It's a land. No one's going to draft it.
Take this off the screen.
I, for one, am inspired by that vantage.
Yeah.
But you're like just gonna beat down with really good Boros cards, and you're gonna buff up your lackeys into 2/1 first strikers, and they will not be able to block.
Sorry, you said really good Boros cards. Why do I see lackeys here?
Okay, I think the lackeys are gonna have a home in Boros. Your mercenaries being able to turn them into 2/1s and 3/1s, I think, is good.
I think if you get prickly pairs, if you get stuff with mercenaries, it might be all right. But otherwise, it does look kind of mopey.
I am just very, very skeptical right now of how you win combats. Quick draw is a thing, but quick draw is what? That's not that different from the +1/+0 first strike scry that we've seen. That's never been good, right? We don't have good. Mm-hmm. How are we going to push through? How are we?
I assume Take Up a Shield will happen at some point when they're tapped out, and then you'll have a 2/3 first striker that won a combat that's good for future combats. But it's not perfect by any means. You need the mercenaries. Yeah.
I need to see something like Run Amok, right? I need a +3/+3.
Oh yeah, Run Amok will fuck them up. Yeah.
Or a specialist rifle. And I just don't see anything like that for the aggressive deck. So I don't know how they do.
Well, don't we actually have Run Amok in this set?
There is the +2/+0. No? I think that the +2/+0 card is not bad at all because it draws you.
Which one is the +2/+0 card? Oh, you mean the Trumpet Blast?
Yeah, the Trumpet Blast. Yeah.
Yeah, the Trumpet Blast is okay.
Is there anything on the bonus sheet that
draws a card? I mean,
I don't think there's good combat tricks on the bonus sheet.
Tricks, no.
Oh yeah, because they all target a
ride down.
They all
there is
turn.
Outlaws Merriment. It helps you by generating an insanely wide board that doesn't care about combat tricks at some stage.
Ride down is kind of, in some senses, a combat trick.
That's a
ride
good
down
trick.
is good. I should include ride down in this instead of something obscure.
There's nothing that's like the Savage Smash. I guess you could argue is something like
think
a
Lasso
combat trick
is
in damage, but
I feel
Lasso
Lasso
can be
combo.
the damage pushing kind of
you
thing.
had the Lasso and the Vigilante. Yeah, I'm import Vigilante. I assume someone's going to do that to me on day one, and I'm just going to concede the game and go to the next one.
You're just gonna desert do it.
You probably just kill the Vigilante, and when they don't take up the shield mana.
Yeah, but they always will. Because I'll play my 3-drop on turn 3, and then I'll try and bite it on turn 4.
This is one thing that can push quite a lot of damage because your mercenaries will tap for 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I think you probably want to take up the shields. I imagine that you're going to have to kind of fight for them. You want the Errances. I think probably...
Yeah, the Errances will be good.
If you can get, I think the Secret will come out early with the Errances. It will be good in the Naya colors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's particularly hidden.
No, but I mean, if you go Erranks and a Prickly Pear, you're attacking for 3, and then you just have Gray attacks the next turn, and then what are they doing? Yeah, but you do have to wait a close because we don't have the +2/+1, so we have to use that Trumpet Blast, I guess, or do your Pinger or
it is a very good
something.
Trumpet Blast. I mean,
it
is very, very, very good. It lets you
throw it
pass
in
the
there.
thing until end of your next turn, so that's we literally drawing a card.
I mean, I laughed on the job because I was like, oh, if I kill them, do I care about the investigate? But I mean, there were many times where I would be like, okay, this is just, I have 2 in my deck, and I'm going to use the first one to just, do whatever, and then I'll draw the card. So yeah, I guess it could be all right. Yeah.
Sure. I could be sold on the Trumpet Blast.
Yeah.
It probably should be in this deck.
Yeah, I don't think...
What's it called?
Oh, I don't know.
Outlaws Fury.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yes.
I guess you could play it in this one. You could maybe play it in red-black, I guess. I don't think red-green wants it. I don't think red-blue wants it, but yeah.
I guess red-black is going a little bit wider than red.
You're going to have more mercenary. Well, you probably have similar number of mercenaries in red-black, but you're not as aggressive, so you have to find some way to break through, and maybe that's the way. I don't know.
Yeah, you can just ping them out with the Bastion of Remembrance. That's
a thought. Yeah,
easy game.
Yeah,
easy game. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold on the Fury in this.
Yeah,
in
and that won't go. I can't imagine that goes early because it's only in 2 of the 4 color pairs.
You'll be able to get
it. Yeah. I did not wheel on the jobs after week 3 or 4. I think that card will probably still wheel later in the format.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced.
I think that Outlaws Fury is going to be a worse card than Omnichop.
Yeah, no, I will not disagree. But
I don't think anyone questions that. It's just it's needed.
Yeah.
You don't have a better one in the format.
Yeah,
so
we don't have an Auspicious Arrival. We don't our combat tricks are not great in this set, so it might actually end up being better in the sense that the next best card is so far worse than it.
Yeah,
so you have to play a couple of them.
So it makes me think that maybe the first strike enchantment might be useful.
Yeah, I think the enchantment. Yeah.
Oh, is that the Ferocification? No.
You just mean the black-red one, right?
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
On something.
Yes. At knife point. I think that card is. It's a build-around card for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
It is, but I think it might be actually a legit build-around when you can make a couple of outlaws and then give +2/+0.
Well, the real payoff is when you make your lackeys have double first strike, which then you explain to your opponent is double strike.
Oh yeah.
Paper
the real payoff is letting other people draft the lackeys and then beat them. That's the best payoff. And the frenzy
Are we really so low on the lackey? Wow.
I think it will be fine because how better or worse is it than the 2/2 Cluefish in the last set? you basically spend. I think it is worse. I don't know if it's a lot worse because you still get your card. It's a net 2 mana.
1 mana 1/2 first strike is worse than 2 mana 2/2 like with haste, especially.
I know, but it also costs 1 mana versus 2.
And it had to attack.
No. I'm saying taking into account that it costs 1 mana, it's still worse. Like specifically because there's no ways to leverage it. There's we
don't have good equipment. We don't have good pumps. So I agree with that. I think at this set we're designed
and 3 mana to crack make a treasure is worse than 2 mana to crack.
I agree. I definitely agree with that as well because you're neutral, but you have to have the 3 mana up to do it. Yeah, it's tough. Anyway, Circo, do you think we have time to run through like one draft just to appease the people that have stuck on long enough?
I definitely need to leave, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
okay.
No, I understand that.
But we know the drill, Jason. You always leave once we're done with the skeletons. And
No, you're good.
Okay,
you're
so
good.
let's end the official part of the stream. Let's end the official part of the stream. Move back to the slides. Where is the slides? This.
I'm busy.
Share
fair enough. Yeah.
You got places to be. You got
people to hang out
slimes
with.
to oversee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Them slime ain't gonna oversee themselves.
No.
Right. So that's it. We saw all our skeletons, well, at least some of them. Don't worry. I'm going to make the slides available. Normally, it's only for patrons, but the skeleton crew, I'm not going to restrict people's possibility of watching what did Zach build or something.
By the way,
my personal work.
I do have a Twitch. It's the same as Zach Kagan at Twitch. I don't Twitch. I don't stream regularly, but I guess Circumvents is trying to protect the viewers from my content. I understand.
Smart.
I will do my utmost to do that, to protect them from your sense of humor. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. And please do give a follow to all the people involved. I think it's very much worth it. And that's the last slide. And with that, I'll see you next week when I'm going to be talking about, some of my personal speculation, maybe a condensed version of this chat on the OTJ. And with that, see you next week.